So on your cylinder walls, we have these microscopic peaks and valleys. Those are on purpose to be able to collect and retain oil for lubrication as your piston is moving up and down. That way it's not scraping or causing any internal damage to your chamber. Even just a leaking fuel injector, the gasoline itself, it'll wash down all that lubrication from your cylinder walls. Thus, when your piston moves up and down, you're not scraping. It's actually going to create permanent and detrimental damage. Maybe not permanent because you can re-sleeve and rehound, but it's all dependent on your tolerances.
Also, you have water sitting on top of your piston. You're not going to get any combustion because it's going to stop the explosion.
Yeah. So even if your other cylinder is trying to compensate, guess what? There's more water in there. And guess what? Now, because they're still going to be moving, they're just scraping. Those little piston rings are just scraping along the walls. Your car's not going to make it very far. You're going to bog out. You're going to misfire. You're going to do more damage now to your catalytic converter and all that. And it's just all bad news all around.
And this is head gasket failure, right?
He's saying that this is why you change your coolant, right? You replace it. I'm not saying it's all entirely due to the coolant because just like coolant is a maintenance item, replacing your head gasket should also be a maintenance item. Coolant over time, the additives in it and the properties that help with the heat dissipation will eventually, no more additives. So it is a good idea to regularly change your coolant. I'd say on a maintenance schedule, maybe just a coolant flush, checking coolant.
Every couple of years, right?
Totally.
Yeah, maybe every 2 years, every 3 years. I should feel like it's 6 years. Go 6 years.
If you can go 6 years, definitely go 6 years. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, don't change your coolant. Don't listen to anything that Steph just says.
Just, if anything, just change your head gasket.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding, guys. Do not do that. It's not going to fix your issues. I'd say, honestly, 20 to 30,000 miles. You're coolant. You can check it out. If it looks good, you're not having any overheating issues, you're probably fine.
How do they know it looks good? What's the barometer for looking good? Do you look
dirty or smoky? If it looks you can, you could see it from the outside of the reservoir tank. You don't have to open it.
You could, but you can't see it clearly.
Each manufacturer has a different type of color they use with different ingredients and all that.
It is somewhat specific to your car.
It is. Also, it's specific to if you have a hybrid or an EV vehicle. Overall point is if it looks similarly to new coolant, you're probably good. If it does not, if it looks dirty or it looks weird or a little off, probably not good. Definitely let me touch it out.
Next clip. Okay, truck is resting on the tire. There's going to be a groove in this thing. Oh, Jesus.
His life for tires.
Yeah, I would say probably don't get under a car if it's supported entirely by the end of the axle shaft being out.
Person that mounted it messed up. Person put it on, didn't put no actual lug or anything on.
Some axle ends will have like a C-clip on them. It's kind of crazy that your whole car just like resides on this, and like that's what stops your wheels from just coming off. But there's like a little C-clip that just holds the axle in place. And that's kind of it. That C-clip probably broke under load, and then the entire assembly just pulled out. Older Wranglers, the way they're
trying to intimidate us, let us know he can get his will up. As you said before, he doesn't shy away from violence.
I'm gonna take him on a CI. If Bishop goes after him, like you said,
And use him as bait. Let's just use what we've already got. All that intel on kickbacks, ghost guns, and ported cigars. Go get papers on this guy and bring him in. Right now. Today.
it won't do any good.
Come on, you gotta have something concrete.
Like I said, he's smart. Covers his tracks so we can't get access to him. Burner phones, cash, all of it. You saw his CI. Nobody's gonna talk. They're all too scared.
Bishop should be scared of us.
Hey, Lieutenant Samurai, we need to talk.
These are cremated remains.
What the hell is this? When do you guys put this in my locker? Is this some kind of a
Huge locker.
Yeah, well, whoever it was, they need to stay the hell out of here from now on.
I've seen these things before. They're called pendant urns. These are cremated remains.
Hey, you ever seen this before? How about you? Hey, you recognize this? You? Has anyone seen somebody put this in my locker? Or even holding it?
like how it all went together.
Oh, owned a semi. Trailer took off the roof on the doc's head. I think he had one too many, but the official word was brake failure.
Do you remember one of his patients, Juliet Rook?
Oh, that was so sad. What happened? 18 hours of heavy labor, and the husband insisted on a C-section. But Dr. Slifkin thought he knew better than a first-time dad.
So you blew Mr. Rook off.
Yeah, and then things went bad. Juliet had a placental abruption, and Dr. Slifkin missed it, and she bled out, and the baby too.
Pretty big mistake.
Yeah, it was horrible. Mr. Rook lost it. Said he'd killed Dr. Slifkin. We had to call security till he scored him out. I gotta run. Premature labor on the way.
Wonder what Meredith's authority.
Do you buy the Dr. Slipson's car had birth with a baby?
We dump the doc's phones. We tie the calls to.
I got 2 red pulls today.
You earned 2 mythicals?
2 mythical
I guess
pulls.
the big issue here, Steph, is coolant. has
So
stars
you
in
got
it.
2 primal
pulls.
pulls.
Yeah.
They don't tell you the PSI on there. Anywhere from like
So,
15
One
You
for-
didn't get primals. You got the opportunity
Yes.
to pull them.
before they realize.
Is
There's no
what
way
you're
driving
trying
past
to
with
say.
no gas like that.
Yeah, my live arena battles and the siege all added up to.
I haven't seen it. It's almost like because of those 2 primals I pulled, all my odds went down.
It was cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I would do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
fun.
just for fun.
Saturday morning, I'd be like, what's breakfast?
And you wouldn't even drive the car. You just sit there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Next clip. Holy. Yeah, you're definitely not supposed to have coolant in on top of this. Jesus Christ.
So on your cylinder walls, we have these microscopic bellies. Those are on purpose to be able to collect and retain oil for lubrication as your piston is moving up and down. That way it's not scraping or causing any internal damage to your chamber. Even just a leaky fuel injector, the gasoline itself, it'll wash down all that lubrication from your cylinder walls. Thus, when your piston moves up and down, now it's going to start scraping, and it's actually going to create permanent and detrimental damage. Maybe not permanent because you can re-sleeve to rehound, but
Well,
it's all dependent on your tolerances.
also, you have water sitting on top of your piston. You're not going to get any combustion because it's going to stop the explosion.
Yeah. So even if your other cylinders try to compensate, guess what? There's no water in there, and guess what? Now, because they're still going to be moving, they're just scraping. Those little piston rings are just scraping along the walls. Your car's not going to make it very far. You're going to bog out. You're going to misfire. You're going to do more damage now to your catalytic converter and all that, and it's just all that news all around.
And this is head gasket failure, right?
He's saying that this is why you change your coolant, right? You replace it. I'm not saying it's all entirely due to the coolant because just like coolant is a maintenance item, replacing your head gasket should also be a maintenance item. Coolant over time, the additives in it and the properties that help with the heat dissipation will eventually, no more additives. So it is a good idea to regularly change your coolant. I'd say on a maintenance schedule, maybe just a coolant flush, check your coolant.
Every couple of years, right?
Totally.
Yeah, maybe every 2 years, every 3 years. If you're feeling like it's 6 years, go 6 years.
If you can go 6 years, definitely go 6 years. No, I'm kidding.
Don't listen to anything that's not good.
Just, if anything, just change your head gasket.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. No. I'm just kidding, guys. Do not do that. It's not going to fix your issues. I'd say, honestly, 20 to 30,000 miles. You're coolant. You can check it out. If it looks good, you're not having any overheating issues, you're probably
How do you do this? What's the barometer you're looking at? Do you open your
dirty or
reservoir tank?
milky. If it looks similar, yeah, you could. I mean, you could see it from the outside of the reservoir tank. You don't have to open it.
You can, but you can't see it clearly.
Each manufacturer has a different type of color they use with different
Yes.
ingredients and all that.
It is somewhat specific to your car.
It is, also, it's specific to if you have a hybrid or an EV vehicle. Overall point is if it looks similarly to new coolant, you're probably good. If it does not and it looks dirty or it looks weird or a little off, Probably not good. Definitely time to flush it out.
Thanks.
Okay.
Clip. Okay, the truck is resting on the tire. There's going to be a groove.
Yeah, I
in this
should probably
thing.
do that too.
What?
Oh.
Oh shit, I should probably
Like
do that too.
Yeah, I would say probably. Don't
Shocking. Why is it I always remember you, remind you to do your fucking job?
Person I mounted it messed up.
This
Person
doesn't affect
put it
other
on, didn't
people.
put no actual lugs or anything.
It
on
doesn't fucking matter. I will ridicule you.
Your car just like resides on this, and like that's what stops your wheels from just coming off. But there's like a little C clip that just holds
Fuck, I
the
still
axle in
can't
place.
beat this.
And that's
This
kinda
thing.
it. That C clip probably broke under load, and then the entire.
What's the best
assembly,
team
like,
out of the
pulled
60s
out
that you see here?
the way the axle assembly is designed, there is
I know
no
you're gonna say this, 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 and this.
the whole thing together.
Am
on the
I?
back end. But
Yeah.
if you snap an
Tell me
axle,
no.
your wheel just falls.
Wow.
So to like get it off the trail, if you break
No,
it, you have
I
to,
don't
like,
think you
strap a
need
log to the
both
side
Doom
end,
Priest
keep the wheel
and
Fresh,
Sepulchre
as flush as
Sentinel.
you can.
as flush as you can.
If you ever had strapped gloves inside of your
Never mind. It's
right
it's
to
an
us.
That was
awakened
quite a close
stage.
call for
Oh.
this school. Have you ever been in
Okay, then how about
The
this?
closest call I've ever had, I was like 16. I had my first
Arbiter
and it was a Honda
Stag
Accord,
Knight.
it's a 1994 Honda Accord, two-door.
Arbiter? Where do you
I
see
made my
Arbiter?
mission
Very
of
thing.
down, like,
Oh,
over and
I,
over and over
for
again.
some reason I thought that was Sill.
Engine, I would do like everything to it just because I was like so fascinated with learning like how it all went together. My parents lived like on
What
a
cleanses
mountain,
have you
so,
got?
like, there's a slight tilt to the
These
driveway.
are the
It's also
options
curved.
that I
And
have.
I would jack this thing up and put it on jack stands in the dirt, but obviously like when leaving it there, it would over time like settle. And I remember one time I did something with it, and then I went inside, and I just
I would
remember
take
falling
Archmage,
off the jack stands onto the ground, and I was like.
Stag Knight,
I was literally just under there. And so after that, I was like, okay, this is probably not a good idea. So I would like
and Dark Elhane if you have
I
her.
was young and I was dumb. I was a teenager. It was my first gun I was working on. So I didn't know.
I have seen
You
that
don't have
happen,
Dark
with
Elhane yet.
people that-
Or you haven't built
No,
Dark
it's
Elhane.
I have Dark Elhine. I just don't have her as an option for this cursed city.
You don't? Okay.
This is carbon that is built up in this engine that is due to neglected oil changes.
That's what happens usually when you don't change your.
Take your Orc Reviver as well then.
Your blinker fluid also. Smells like
Your
ass. It's gonna be ass
yeah.
to work on. Your car's gonna run like ass. It's just all ass.
I always see these clips online. I'm like, ooh, dang, somebody really gummed up the works on this one.
And
then
your
I'm
Orc
like,
would have been
okay, but now what? New engine? What are we talking? We talking new engine? We talking?
Well,
We talking valves? We talking lifters? We talking head
your
gas?
ass.
What are
But
we
your
talking?
problem's going to be getting frozen at any point.
How much carbon is built up will determine how easy it is to remove or how difficult it is. Carbon is really interesting if it's old carbon because now you're just adding more carbon to it and then heat and then more carbon and heat. I think it also depends on like your driving conditions. If you're driving like a madman and you're just like not doing your oil on top of it, you're gonna get your buildup like this a lot sooner.
So what's your recommendation to prevent this? Maybe a 5,000 mile oil change step?
10,000 miles.
Can I see a helmet?
Dependent on your driving conditions.
Your Archmage
Your
helmet,
constant
don't pull your
commuter
dick
on
out
the
for that,
freeway,
please.
You're not gonna burn your oil as quicker as someone who is going and stopping the traffic or just street use.
Okay. Here's my recommendation for this.
Crit rate's a little low, but
What?
nothing unusual.
That's doing this. That's doing these shenanigans. I'm gonna say do a 5,000 mile oil change, and they're gonna get to 5,000. But no, I gotta wait for the 1,000 miles up this month, and they'll get a 6,000.
That's a really fucking rough one for you.
Eventually, they'll get the oil change at 10,000.
If you're that person, do it every 5,000 miles, like he said. But if you're a regular person like me and everyone else, do every 10,000 miles. Check your oil. Don't be scared to get up in there. It's just oil. It's just a dipstick. Next clip.
This is what happens when you ride around with your vehicle making noise and you ignore it. That's not how
It has a nice, soft voice.
I've actually never seen one this bad. There's literally a whole
It shouldn't be long until there's a re-gear thingy anyway.
There, you can see the
I have one stored.
A re-gear weekend.
just amazing.
I know,
Okay,
but I have
somebody
one
had to go
stored.
with this.
I
Actually,
can
I
just
have to
use it and
So
then
the way
do
that
the
it
whole
goes,
thing.
this is basically
Oh
the
shit,
end of the
2
CV
by
axle has,
C's
like, a
tonight.
cup on it, and it spins with inside of that input or input, whatever you would call it, in the differential housing, essentially. When it breaks, obviously that CV axle will just bounce around inside of that housing, and when it bounces around like that, over time, it'll just disintegrate the housing on the sides, and then you end up with a hole on it. And you hear CVs. Like, when they break, they're so obvious. When you turn, when you accelerate, when you stop, when you do anything, it would make so much noise.
They're intended to like work at angles and shit. That's why they're constant velocity joints. You're gonna make a turn, you're just gonna drive, you're gonna get a bump, and you're gonna hear those things. This person was just extremely negligent. Let me see that next clip.
This is worn down to the fins. So basically with brake rotors, you have like 2 steel plates on either side if they're a steel brake rotor. And then you have like little fins that basically connect them together. And that helps, those little fins help with like cooling. They also help keep them together and everything, and they're pretty rigid. This guy has worn down his brakes to the point where he's completely run through one of the steel rotor.
Yeah, he's pad to the fins.
Pad to the fins.
He's probably not braking too good.
No, and this would make a lot of sound. This would be like a chunk, 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 chunk.
Well, not just that, but well,
that's the sound it would make. This is not good. You definitely don't want to do this. Don't ever do this.
assuming that his caliper can push the little piston as far out as it needs to get a good brake.
Good point. So this,
Assuming that that's happening, yeah, he's probably getting crazy noise, but I'm guessing it's not because his pedal is going to the floor.
checking your brakes is one of those things that's not that easy. I'm saying just for like the average person. They're good at checking fluids because there's like a line and it tells you if it's full or not full. Just when you go in to have your oil changed or something, let them check your brakes, and if they tell you that they're like, I can't even give this advice anymore because dealerships lie to you.
Well.
Dealerships lie.
There are some dealerships that are now implementing a video style thing where basically they record, and I know because I used to have to do this, basically they'll record your safety inspection and they'll show you your brake pads and they'll show you your fluid levels and all of that. And they'll talk about if there's anything wrong, if they know, if they're recommending anything, they're more than likely going to show you in that video. If your dealership is implementing this style of safety inspections. Now, let's say you are an average Joe and you want to check your brake pads, but you don't want to lift the car and you don't want to like go through the hassle of removing your tire.
Too much work.
If you have disc style brakes and you have a smaller caliper and you have enough gap between your actual wheel and your caliper, you can get what is like a dental mirror. Basically just a little mirror that you can bend the head, just shoving it in there and just shining a flashlight and saying, my brake pads are still this thick. If you're down for it,
sometimes this is the inherent flaw in our logic as being car people, is that we think that other people want to spend as much time with their car as we do. And most other people are just working on 9 to 5, go back and forth to work, their car is just a transport from A to B. And you think they're going to go outside and check their brakes?
When was the last time you checked your brakes? If you want to do that, you can. And you're more than welcome to. It's easy.
It is easy. What Steph is saying is checking your brakes is easy. And I will agree with that. You should check your brakes because they're the only thing stopping you and your imminent demise.
Also, nowadays, modern cars, they have brake pad thickness sensor.
Right.
So once you're running low, you get a little brake light warning or on your dash.
Yeah.
Nice clip.
Nothing beats an Eggo thick and fluffy waffle. Belgian-style waffles. Oh, so delicious.
Your smashed flower pot? Our Gorilla Glue. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Yeah, I'll just ask. Wondering about Ozempic? Just ask your doctor. At Sephora, we believe everyone's unique shade deserves to shine. That beauty is a light emanating from within, worthy of being seen and celebrated. Sephora's Color IQ tool matches your unique shade to beauty products right for you, so your light can truly shine. Discover your Color IQ shade match only at Sephora.
think it's a big deal to wash all this mud out of your wheels.
This is a big deal.
Until it sands down your calipers. Here's the other side. It's not as bad. You can still see that Subaru logo and this 12D right there.
Dang. I've never seen that happen personally, but the thing I like to do is I like to go off-road. Thanks, Dad. If you don't wash the mud out of your wheels, you're gonna think like you get a pretty serious imbalance on your wheels. Also, mud has lots of like mineral properties in it and can be pretty bad for your undercarriage. So it's a good idea to just get all that stuff off of the old undergrundle and clean it so that you don't have rust problems.
Yeah, this looks like it could be a floating caliper, which means it only has pistons on one side, and this side is just floating or moving like that. So we can see it has sliding pins at the top. If they'll get caked up with debris or mud, you can't, they're not going to slide, and you might get issues like wearing one pad prematurely more so than the other, or just overall braking issues. Clean that mud out your tire.
And also take your car off-road, because more cars can go off-road than you would think. I've seen all kinds of things out there. So take your car off-road, go explore it before all of our public lands are gone.
If a smart car can do it, why can't you?
So go explore. Next clip. I knew it. I knew it was going to have so much slack in it. Slack in the timing chain is not good. Same principle works with like a bicycle, but if you have slack in the chain of your bicycle, like you'll skip teeth.
And it's super detrimental in this circumstance because your timing chain, not all vehicles have a timing chain, but some do. Your timing chain is basically what's keeping your crankshaft and your camshafts operating at the same speed at the same time. So that's operating your valve train components as well as your piston and all that and keeping it in place. If there is no slack in your chain, yes, like you said, you can skip teeth, and now you're throwing everything else off. Slack can be introduced if your tensioners are weak. A good rule of thumb is to, when you're doing anything in your timing chain, replace your tensioners and your guides. Guides will lose the rigidness, and tensioners will just get weak over time. Super, very uncommon, but I have seen people forget to install certain guides, just like that little guide at the top.
Dumb.
Just little things like that, but you more likely want your timing to be set at TDC, top dead center, on your compression stroke. That way all your timing marks align. Honestly, if you don't know what that means, you can literally just crank or manually crank your crankshaft until, or turn your crankshaft until you see all the marks align on your camshaft sprockets and your timing chain itself. That's the easiest way to do it. It might take a little bit, but then when you replace it or just keep it out of the way and then put it back on, you know for a fact that you're not going to be off timing.
Try new things, learn new things. I learned today what TDC stands for.
There's also EDC, and that's just the positioning of your pistons.
Yeah. Also, when you look at the weather, it says F. It stands for Fahrenheit. So, I didn't know that.
What does the C stand for?
I'm so funny.
That's
Next clip.
This vehicle here, let me show you. This is on a 2015 M350 that has been coated by another shop a long time. Probably a couple of years ago. This, I can tell you, spare tire mount, this thing has never been down before, ever. And look at the dirt that builds up in here. And these wheels will just rot right out real fast. And the customer will go to use it someday. Not to mention that it'll probably won't even lower. But you gotta get these clean and blow them out.
I guess the real lesson here is to check your spare tire semi-regularly. Because the other thing that he doesn't really dive into is the fact that your spare tire can drop. And especially if you have like a full-size spare tire that's hanging underneath the bottom of the car as well. Like he said, this came off an F-Series truck. It looks like a Michelin Defender LTX, so I assume it's like a truck tire. But
it kind of smarts.
thanks, big dog.
Yeah.
Love you, honey. Anyways, I grew up in the Northeast where we get lots of rust, and rust undercoating or underbody prevention was like a thing. You really got to be careful with which ones you pick, because some of them are good. Some of them are really bad because they literally will just cover over surface rust already, and then they make it worse because they'll trap stuff basically to the frame. So you want to make sure that like things are really clean, or the prep shop that does like the cleaning.
They're talking
You
about
want all that
disciplinary action.
It is. The thing I would say is like if you're gonna undercoat your car, do it when it's brand spanking new. If you're buying a new car, like you're buying $100,000 on it, and it's never been under. You're just going to trap everything. The other thing is just check your spare tire regularly, that it's not dry rotting or cracking or anything like that.
Check that.
Take a picture
Say hi.
and do what this guy said. Just like dust it out. Give her a wash. Give her a little wash. Scrub
You're
her
really
down.
gonna love it.
This is
Let me see.
Probably not. HR mentioned a follow-up meeting next week. Should be fun. Follow for more content. What in the world did you tell HR?
That looks like all of his buddies.
I have seen this happen on a Subaru one time. It was my homie's Subaru. He was like, yeah, he's like, my engine looks weird. And I'm like, what do you mean it looks weird? Like, of course the engine. He popped the hood, and it's like this. The mount completely shifted onto like the subframe.
It was leaning.
I don't know how his engine was still holding on, especially because the Subaru, dude. That thing would have been blown up by now.
I like Subarus. I like boxer engines.
The average
You don't have to come from just a company.
My recommendation, if you're hearing something, feeling something off about your car, take it to professionals. We're the professionals. Don't tell us this is going on in my tire rod replace. Some mechanics are gonna be like, all right, we see everything that's wrong, but this dude wants tire rod replace tire rods. So maybe just take your car in and be like, hey, I'm bringing my car in because I'm feeling a weird vibration when I reverse, when I accelerate, when I'm at idle.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm hearing a weird noise when I turn over bumps, when I drive over rough roads,
Yeah.
or when I turn only left. Wherever it may be, describe your concern, and we'll try and help you as best as we can with the rest.
Just the same way that you want to have a guy that does, like a guy you know that is a plumbing guy, and a guy that you know that's a wiring guy, and a guy that you know that's a roofer. You want to have a guy that you know that's a mechanic.
Yeah.
And so, go to different shops. It's not that hard. Find somebody that you trust, and you're like, this guy gives me good energy, and take your car there over and over again. And if they know your car and they work on it consistently,
They'll take care of you.
and then too, also once you develop that relationship, you just call them. You'd be like, hey, Chippo, I'm feeling a little bit of a vibration. I'm feeling something going wrong. And they'll be like, just swing by. I'll take a peek at it for you. Won't charge you a dime. Just slip them a little $20. And then they take a look at it for you, and they're like, it's just it's this thing. You can drive on for another 5,000 miles. We'll replace it next time. You don't have the money this time? That's all right, dude. You spend all of it on gambling? That's okay, dude. And so, they'll take care of you if you have, a good relationship, right?
Even dealerships, you build a relationship with a mechanic there, or, a service advisor.
There's good mechanics in dealerships. There's good mechanics that own their own shops. And there's also, on the other side of that, bad mechanics everywhere.
Well, yeah, but it's like anything, dude. There could be bad apples every basket you look in,
Right,
It's
but
just
you're a donut with
good judgment of character. Yeah, I don't think that's a secret, though. I'm slowly corrupting everyone else around me. And one day my plan will be successful.
Getting everybody.
And everyone will be cursing and screaming.
Please give us the next clip. Next clip, please. Please.
The washer fluid light is on at your
I know this
What
guy.
do? You ask your son to fill up the washer fluid for you. And he's a good kid, so of course he's going to do that. He goes out there, grabs the water hose, fills it all the way to the top, puts the cap back on it, and then you go out to start the car just to make sure that the washer fluid light is out. Except it's not. The light is still on, and the engine's running really rough. See, what happened was he was supposed to fill it up here, but he didn't. Instead, he filled it up here. And that is not good. They realized what they did. They had it towed to the shop. First thing he did was drain the washer fluid out of the engine. We then removed the spark plugs, turned the engine over. Oh, Jesus. We didn't check the compression. The compression was low, which means that's been dropped and it needs a new engine. Now you're probably thinking, well, how did it start to begin with if the cylinders were completely filled with water? Well, they weren't. The PCV valve was filled with water, so when you started it up, the intake sucked that water into the engine. So it did run briefly. It sucked in the water, bent the rods, and the engine shut down. Now when we're completely done replacing the engine, don't worry, we'll top off the washer fluid.
Yeah, this is not good. Yeah, it's positively cranking that thing.
You know that some engines, you can, while they're running, you can remove the oil cap and they sound fine, but some of them will just
Those with
that's what that has to do with that.
PCV. Nice dog. I learned another new thing today. But with this is also true with if you're off-roading and you go through a river crossing that's a little bit deeper than you thought it was going to be. And then all of a sudden you suck in some water and you're like, that's not good. It's basically the same thing. It's water going into your engine and it's not good. It can bend the rods if you don't turn it off soon enough. But then you basically just take out a spark plug if you do that and you crank and you let the water eject itself through the spark plug vent or hole. You clear the engine as much as you can of all that water and then you start it up and hopefully you didn't bend a rod between got water in and the time you got the car out of the water.
So,
Oh
that's
no.
spring.
It's a fucking 2x4.
God, that must ride
Aside-
so hard.
It's riding like, aside from being constantly anxious that thing's just gonna freaking like
Snap.
him out, yeah.
Oh.
Aside from that,
The thing with springs is they're meant to like go up and down, and obviously wood doesn't have that same property like that. So
I believe it was like a temporary, like, keep it up while they take the springs off.
yeah.
Never put it back.
Even if you bought it in bucks, right? And then you look in the trunk, you're like, damn, there's springs in here, a tinfoil tray. I wonder where those came from. You wouldn't immediately be like, did those come from my car?
when I buy cars, I'm legit on the ground underneath looking at everything.
I guess what we're saying is, I don't know how we
How
got
did
to
you,
this.
how did
we
you
get here?
get to this?
How did we get here? We
When Zero Eight made their groundbreaking flight in September 2020, it was hailed as a landmark moment.
In the conversion process, so taking the chemical energy of the hydrogen into usable electric energy on the aircraft, you combine hydrogen, H2, with oxygen from the air, which is O2, and bringing that together creates H2O, water. And that is really the only waste product that you have on a hydrogen system like ours. And that water you can discharge during flight, and it does not create harmful emissions.
Their first flight was only around 15 minutes. Now they're testing the system in preparation for a flight that will last over 2 hours and cover 250 miles.
Now, of course, as this gets rolled out commercially, we'll start to take and that is a
Jeff, what's this I hear about your team not following their new manager's orders? Listen, Jen, no one respects the clerk. Michael's inexperienced, condescending, and downright rude. Just yesterday, he told Sarah she should stick to making coffee when she pointed out a flaw in his stove. How can you expect us to follow someone like that? Jeff, I don't care if he's a bit rough around the edges. Do I really need to remind you that he's our boss's son? You know the consequences if we don't follow his orders. The kid instructed us to delete hundreds of crucial code branches yesterday for an organizational overhaul. Did you want us to blindly follow that order too? I wasn't aware of that specific instruction, but the point remains, you need to follow his lead. If you have an issue, go through the proper channels. Otherwise, we'll be removed as team lead. Is that clear? Crystal? Jeff, why is our website down and why are my phones ringing off the hook? Oh, it's not down, per se. Michael ordered us to change the domain name to his full name. So, just type michaelbleakleak.com in your browser, and voila. What? Why wasn't I informed? This is outrageous. You said to follow his lead and go through proper channels. Remember? Why is the first thing on the page a full screen, auto-playing YouTube video of Michael playing Minecraft? Jeff, what's this I hear about your team not following your new manager's orders?
For commercial operations to be a success, the team here at Zero Alien will have to accommodate something considerably larger.
In fact, hydrogen is actually 3 times as energy dense as fuel per kilogram of fuel, which is really exciting.
As an example of why it's so important, the maximum takeoff weight of an Airbus A380 is 565 tons. Its tanks are full. Fuel will account for 250
ultimately the system can scale from something like a 60 aircraft to a narrow body aircraft like an Airbus A320, which is something we'll be looking at in the 2030s. There's always a strong sense of purpose. I think you can feel that across the entire team, and that everybody's really dedicated and actually making sustainable air transport. 50% of the world's air travel is less than 5 million miles. That's exactly the kind of market that we are targeting with our hydrogen electric powertrain. And that is why we're so excited about the potential, because you can eradicate all carbon emissions from 50% of all flights today.
Achieving real results for your business starts with asking the right people the right questions. Create expertly conducted surveys with powerful AI that analyzes data more quickly for insights that change everything. Ooh, survey like I was so determined that cancer wasn't going to define me as a person. Training with Sam has made it so easy and comfortable. She has pushed me and making me understand what I'm capable of. She pushes me to my potential.
In Canada, we take care of our neighbors. It's just who we are. That's why you get our pets delivered with dental care, free diabetes medication, and birth control. But Pierre Poilievre will cut healthcare, pensions, and EI, just like every conservative reformer. I'm Jagmeet Singh. I'll make Ottawa work for you by lowering your grocery bill, building more affordable homes, and fixing our healthcare.
Seems like a silly little toy, but in fact it contains all the systems that are shaping a whole new sphere of electric aviation.
At Marina Bay, Singapore, a team from the German company Volocopter are making last-minute preparations. They hope that this aircraft will be able to make a landmark flight that could shape the future of urban air mobility. The origins of this remarkable story can be traced back to 2011, when Alexander Zosel and his friend, software designer Stephen Wolf, unwittingly became internet sensations.
Well, it all began when I saw these small little quadruples, kind of technical guys, so I thought, what would it take to scale up such that human could fly with?
It was the first manned flight of a vertical takeoff aircraft powered by electric motors. But it was their choice of undercarriage that also captured people's imagination.
We were thinking about a solution that isn't very lightweight. And it turned out that these yoga balls are approved for like 400 kilograms or so. Even today, if you ask someone, Volocopter, what's that? Ah, we did this thing with the yoga ball. Ah, yes, I know the yoga ball. That's the story.
Until then, it was really just a let's prove that this is possible. But then the public reaction was triggered both from the broader public as well as from a lot of aviation experts. They came back to us and said, guys, this is fantastic. We've been theorizing about distributed electric propulsion for decades. And here you go actually proving the point, because this opens up a whole new paradigm for safety in aviation.
Spurred on by the enormous interest, they secured funding and began seriously developing the concept.
I thought it's so obvious, many people in this world would be working on it. Later on, it turned out for years that there were no followers and we were the only ones.
Young companies are like young people. They create these wonders because they're too busy doing something else when they're being told that it's impossible.
are unsurmountable to him at that time. We try to maintain that original spirit for as long as possible because it's made possible what was viewed as not being possible at the time. It was not the original idea to be a pioneer, but then it turned out we are.
A team of 10 became hundreds. Satisfying the rigorous demands of certification meant that every part of the system was redesigned, made safer, more reliable, able to cope if something went wrong.
We have redundancy in all of our critical components, right? Most visible in our electric propulsion unit. So we have 18 propellers, and obviously a number of those can fail, and we can still safely complete our mission. And this is completely new. If you look at a traditional helicopter, there's a whole very complex chain of components, mechanical components, that if one of those elements fails, the entire aircraft is in serious problems. And that's very different here with the volocopter. And this safety architecture allows us to build air vehicles that weren't able to build in the past that are much, much safer than what we know today.
This, combined with the much lower noise levels, means that objections that are previously applied to helicopters operating in cities could potentially be addressed. Which is why this flight in Singapore was so important. Having secured permission to fly here, Volocopter hoped that it would be a glimpse into the future. Tucker Moore, British company Skyports, was responsible for creating what can best be described as a temporary pop-up airport, known as Vertical.
Hundreds of people in the first walk away, and it was torrential. Absolutely, Singapore is just pouring.
Not so happy about the weather. Actually, a little bit nervous that the whole event would happen.
It's military aspect, so you only get a defined area, but like you just kick it down the road and say, oh, we'll do it at 2, because one of them, what you're doing it, like, there, you're not doing it. So we had all these people cutting the ribbons, press, TV crews were there. And at the last minute, the skies opened up. It won't perfectly, but I don't think at the time they realised quite how close it was to not go.
It was very special, of course. Obviously.
And we got incredible feedback from regulators, from city officials, from administrators, but more so from the public who, for the first time, had been able to see it, sit in it, understand what it was, hear it, what did not hear it. They don't even turn around and they don't know it's there. So there's a load of really great things we can take from that and then apply them to our city around the world.
We don't want this to be a rich man's toy, very similar to helicopters are today. We want this to be a professionally operated fleet available to the public. That means the citizens and the visitors of a city. And by that, we can actually democratize the access to this new technology, and we can scale our services to a degree. Ultimately, we have the potential to offer this at the price slightly above today's taxi ride, which really makes it accessible to broad audiences.
But this is just the first part of a far more ambitious plan. Initially, these aircraft will have pilots. However, in the future, the intention is for them to be autonomous. But what exactly does that mean?
Automatic. Press the button. The aircraft flies from A to B, which is fine until there's a balloon in the way. Autonomous, the machine chooses, and we hope it chooses to fly around that balloon. From a technology perspective, we can do it even today. We can, for example, automatically detect emergency landing sites along the trajectory, whether it's free and good to land. Detect birds or elements like another aircraft or even small drones at sufficient distance in order to initiate a countermeasure in order to avoid such an obstacle and avoid any conflict that might occur. So that's technology we can already showcase today, but we continue to work on those with a host of partners such as research institutions and commercial partners as well.
There are a number of challenges for us, but the technology you can solve, throw enough money and enough brains at it, you can solve the technological challenges that are being worked through at the moment. Regulation is on the right path. Timing is less easy to influence than technology, but there's momentum there, driven by business case, driven by innovation, driven by safety cases. The big unknown is social acceptance. When this is ready to go, do people adopt it as a form of transport? Do people embrace it? Do they love it because it's saving them time, solving problems? Or is it a bit more of an unknown that people are nervous about using? It takes a longer time to get up the adoption curve and really scale.
But could drones offer a means of socially acceptable transition? Duncan and his team have already begun trials with drone deliveries of medical supplies to remote Scottish Isles on behalf of the NHS, the British National Health Service.
It's really exciting to be flying drones for the NHS, and as COVID hit, it really accelerated what we were doing with them because it made what was routine delivery and really critical delivery, flying COVID testing kits between the west coast of Scotland and the Isle of Mull. Very challenging in certainly remote areas, put in new roads, bridges, tunnels. The drones can circumvent a lot of that. They can provide services to communities which are underserved with existing infrastructure and can really change lives very dramatically in a short space of time. The future is undoubtedly autonomous. It's actually easier to do autonomy in the sky than on the ground because there's fewer random events. There's less balls bouncing down the road, kids crossing the road.
In recent years, there has been a proliferation of new companies entering the urban air mobility market, hoping to be part of this new autonomous revolution.
There's nearly 200 companies out there in the world at the moment, and that's not including the ones that are working in secret. There is such a thing.
One company, EHang, based in China, has even begun making autonomous passenger flights.
So they've been able to create a very, very nurturing environment within their own borders. The problem is when they come to export into the wider world.
Regulatory regime in China is very different to the rest of Asia, to Europe, to the US. And in controlled environments, they can do things, frankly, just much more quickly than they can do in the Western world. How that translates to the Western world is a bit of an unknown.
There's going to be an issue of how do we mesh those different regulations. And it's going to become a political issue. And only time will tell to see how that plays out. So what about the future of urban air mobility? That's going to be up to us, frankly. We've got the technology. We know what we can do. The biggest issue is going to be, do we want it?
Without question, the way we fly is about to change. A change that is not being driven by the conventional aerospace industry, but by a new breed of aviators, not afraid to think differently.
As long as we continue to say, well, if the solution isn't 100% and it can't do all of my ranges and replace all of my aircraft, I'm not going to do it. That's putting your head in the sand and saying there's no problem. Instead, change the way you think and look at it piecemeal. If there's something I can solve today, let's solve it.
You have the power to actually do something yourself. With the power comes the responsibility to do something about it.
So here we had some guys who built something in their garage and showed to the world it's possible, but all the aviation industry had nothing.
It starts on this level of small private planes, and it will grow into larger systems as we move ahead.
Technology is the only key that I see to open up a bright future that can be sustainable at the same time.
If we can be sustainable with all of these aspects together, we really change the way we live. And I think it's about time we did that. I wish I was starting my time in aerospace now, because it really is the most wonderful time. It's a brand new beginning.
the South Beach Casino and Resort. Try your luck. Dine in, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or buffet. Live entertainment Friday and Saturday nights. Discover our stay and play packages plus our free Ocean Club membership. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Behind me is the entrance to the jet Topman, which is currently the world's largest fusion reactor. It routinely makes plasmas at more than 100 million degrees, 5 times hotter than the center of the sun, and today is the hottest place in our solar system.
The global industrial revolution is underway.
Yes, we have a technological challenge for our environment and for the well-being of the population, planet, and civilization.
Driven by passionate, dedicated individuals intent on shaping a new world.
I do it because I look at my kids, and I honestly, I'm convinced that this is
A cleaner world.
There is a way forward other than burning fossil fuels out of our homes.
A greener world.
This wind farm is producing more hours of power into the grid than all wind farms in the UK and probably in the world.
What we've done in the past is not going to solve these challenges. We need to find new ways, and I think the only way to do that is to greatly step forward and implement technology.
Together, they are pushing engineering to its limits to create extraordinary machines that can protect our planet for the future. It may be the greatest technological challenge ever undertaken by humankind. The quest to produce the ultimate energy solution, a reliable source of clean power.
Windmills are great, solar is great, but they don't work when the wind's not blowing or the sun's not shining.
So what if we could create here on Earth our very own version of the sun? A machine that makes power from nuclear fusion.
When fusion is working, it will allow us to have baseload electricity, replacing all coal gas stations without producing any greenhouse gas emission. The potential for fusion is massive.
So fusion offers humanity a new source of energy. But there are big challenges. Most of those challenges are actually engineering challenges.
It has taken 70 years and a truly global effort, which has seen science transcend the boundaries of cold war politics in common goal. But so immense are the challenges. The goal of a power-producing fusion reactor has so far remained elusive and out of reach. It's going to require the mastery of extraordinary temperatures, the creation of magnetic fields eclipsing any force gone before, and the ability to sustain both for long periods of time.
For me, in terms of the world's energy needs, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when.
For years, the attention of thousands of scientists and engineers across the globe has been fixed on crucial tests being conducted at this former military airbase in the UK. The research being carried out here is pushing the boundaries of science and technology that underpins the whole concept of a fusion reactor. If successful, it has the potential to change the world.
Every day is a daily challenge, and we are doing the first of a kind in all life. So every day is an exciting adventure on the way to a very important goal for the whole of humanity.
But these tests platform is 400 meters wide and covers an area comparable to 60 football fields. If successful, it will form a new blueprint for the world's future energy production. A giant machine that makes use of a process at the subatomic scale, a process which provides the energy from the building blocks of life, fusion.
Everything we see here is a result of a supernova with an ancient star. And that ancient star and that supernova process occurred by a fusion reaction. So as a scientist, I think it's fantastic because we're developing and controlling the very essence of what belongs with nature.
If you could get close enough to the sun to peer inside its core, you'd see atoms of hydrogen joining together or fusing, releasing huge amounts of energy in the process. The source of energy within an atom comes from what holds it together. It's known as binding energy. So if you want to break one apart, you need a lot of energy to do it.
In the sun, because you have this enormous gravitational field, the hydrogen that's in the sun is compressed at very high pressures and temperatures to the point where when they collide, there's a significant probability that they'll fuse, they'll stick together. They stick together in pairs until you get helium. The helium has slightly less binding energy than the hydrogen did to begin with. And that difference in energy is released. It's released as heat and energy of the products. And it's like what we see from the sun and the stars.
Every second, the sun consumes about 600 million tons of hydrogen, releasing 500 million times more energy than is consumed on Earth in an entire year.
The sun works because it's so big, but it's incredibly inefficient. A meter cubed of the sun actually only produces 30 watts of energy of heat. You and I actually produce more heat than the sun does per cubic meter. So the sun only works because it's absolutely enormous.
Harnessing the power of nuclear fusion has often been referred to as buckling the star. But in reality, our version of fusion will need to far exceed what a star can do.
The sun uses the lightest element known, hydrogen, to fuse together. If we actually use slightly heavier versions of hydrogen, called deuterium and tritium, we can make that process happen much more quickly, much more effectively. And that is the process that we plan to use on Earth to actually recreate those fusion reactions. It's a good job the sun doesn't use those fuels, because if it did, it would have burned out in less than 1 second, rather than the 5 to 10 million years lifetime the sun actually has.
Fusion is all about creating a superheated, electrically charged gas known as plasma. To achieve this, you need 3 things: temperature, time, and containment, all of which create huge challenges. Firstly, how do you create temperatures of over 100 million degrees? Secondly, how do you keep the charged nuclei together long enough for them to fuse? And last, once you have achieved the first 2 when creating plasma, how do you contain a substance that would instantly vaporize any known material it touched? The teams here at Color and Ignites believe the solution lies in a concept first conceived of in the Soviet Union in the 1950s, a tokamak reactor.
So this is Jeff. This is the Joint European Torus. It's a tokamak. It's a device that uses a magnetic field to combine a plasma at very high temperatures in order to make nuclear fusion. There's a system of magnets on Jeff. One system wound around the torus this way, and one system wound around the torus that way. That keeps the plasma in the center of the the vacuum system away from the walls and allows you to raise its temperature to this 100 or 200 million degrees C. It's donut shaped, it's toroidal, because the magnetic field confines the plasma from moving across it, but it has no confinement properties along the magnetic field. So you can't have ends in the field. And the way you avoid having ends is you twist the magnetic chamber into a torus. If you go anywhere in the world and you look at magnetic confinement devices, you'll see different kinds of donuts. This one's called a donut. Jet is a high vacuum system, which we pump out at the start of every experiment. And then we inject a small amount of gas into the chamber of deuterium and tritium, which are the two isotopes of hydrogen we use to make fusion. These are then ionized using a very high electric field that is generated around the tokamak. Once they're ionized, they conduct electricity. And the currents inside there are up to about 4 million amps. At those very high currents, you heat the gas and turn it into a plasma.
So we've electrically charged and heated the gas to create plasma. But at this stage, it's a mere 10 million degrees Celsius, which might work for the sun, but without the benefits of the sun's size and gravitational field, it's just a tenth of the temperature needed to create energy-producing fusion here on Earth.
So what do? We add additional heat systems for heating the plasma. We're boosting the temperature of the plasma by another factor of 10 or so. There are two such additional heating systems on Jet. One is a resonance system, a bit like a microwave heating food in your kitchen. This system inside Jet is capable of putting 8 to 10 million watts of power into the plasma.
To give you some comparison, that's something like 10,000 times the power of a typical microwave oven.
The second additional heating system is this large system here where we inject very high energy neutral atoms into the plasma. Neutral so they don't see the magnetic field. This system and its sister on the other side of the machine are capable of putting more than 30 million watts into Jet. The combination of the two heating systems lets us boost the temperature up to those we need in order to make fusion.
But the problem is that as large and sophisticated as Jet is, creating the plasma requires so much power that the reactor doesn't actually generate more power than is put into it. Scientists often compare it to lighting a fire. You need a match to get it started. Ultimately, you need that fire to keep itself going. The problem is to create enough plasma to keep the temperature up, which is what is called burning plasma. And that's where heating comes in.
So here is the next step. And so we're building up of all the knowledge of these existing machines to be able to go to the next level. For every watt we put in, we're going to be able to pull out 10 watts from this machine.
This has never been done before. We have excellent calculations that have been validated by experiments at the level we can do them now, but nobody's gone to the level that either future power plant would have to go to, which is dominant self-heating. And so that's one of the really big physics challenges that's exciting, is this will be the first time we go to the place where we have a true burning plasma.
And that burning plasma can be used to heat water flowing through pipes, which in turn can be used to power turbines, just like in a conventional power station. Just 250 kilos of deuterium and tritium will power 1 million homes for a year. Do the same thing at coal-burning power stations require 2.7 billion tons of coal. While deuterium is readily abundant, it's still conceivable. Tritium, micropower, technological jigsaw, is a different passion.
Cerium and tritium are two different types of hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element in the series
way to get around that is to make trucks that are produced by the city, split them and make chicken. That way you make more chicken than you are manufacturing something that's effectively using materials and delicious. There's also continuous seawater because the materials are potentially from the seawater everywhere.
This potential for the reactor to effectively use challenges from the bottom source is just one more reason why ITER is so important. When complete, it will be the biggest reactor ever constructed. Weighing 23,000 tons, it will be 3 times. And then there's the magnets. Vital. They are the burning plants. Weighing less than all. Each one of its 18 ton oil magnetic fuels will weigh the same. Fully loaded, 74%. Together with another 6 circular magnets, 48 meters wide, and weighing up to 400 tons, they will exert a force equivalent to twice the thrust of the space shuttle takes. And all of this in the quest to reduce and control large amounts of plastic.
Hydrogen, when it gets ionized into a plasma, it's got a beautiful pink one. So you have this sort of pink aura, and so you feel like you're making a work of art and a work of science at the same time.
To create the very powerful electromagnetic field needed to confine the plasma, ITER's magnets are like nothing ever produced before. It's a process that started 30 years ago. And heading the magnets division is Neil Bishop, a man who's been involved in their development from the very start.
Well, it's quite personal because I've spent not only my career but my life on this project. It's very satisfying to think, oh yeah, we were sketching that and this is a paper 25 years ago. And I look at it, and it looks like, yes, I mean, it's amazing in the last, but particularly this year actually, it's really this year, everything's arriving at sight.
The type of electromagnetic field we were using are known as superconductors. These operate at incredibly low temperatures where the wires in them have no electric resistance, meaning that once charged, the only power the magnet consumes is that needed to keep it cool.
The magnet system meter has got quite a lot of energy stored in it. It's around 40 gigajoules. If a gigajoule makes any sense to it, probably doesn't. It'll certainly run several kilowatts of power per day or two.
All that's left of his legacy. Correct. Yes, sir. Does it strike you as ironic that Donald French was wounded in one of the bloodiest battles in the Vietnam War, survived his wife and son, only to be killed so a realtor could win a trip to Hawaii?
Objection. Sustained. Wind it up, Mr. Bash.
Were you with Donald French when he died?
Yes, sir. One afternoon, he simply opened his mail. Next thing I know, he was gone.
No further questions.
Sit down.
Phil's Paul. No. That's Frank Foot. Oh, man. I got your pulse.
Try my erection.
No, you son of a... John! Oh. You got your house back. And then some. Check that out. Huh? So that's yours.
I'm alive.
You're alive. Did you know Donald French?
You've been Wendell Singletary's assistant for...
So I just got out of the Johnny Somali trial, and it's safe to say things went terribly for him. Like, from the start, he walked in, he started making faces at us for being there, and of course he walked in with a MAGA hat on. Immediately, he got in trouble for wearing the hat. He took off the hat, and then he put it back on again, and he got in trouble for it again. On On top of that, he was also carrying a massive water bottle. That's not allowed in court either. He got in trouble for that. And the reason he had that water bottle was presumably because he decided to go live last night at 3 a.m. and he drank a bunch on the stream, so he was too drunk to make it to court on time. So that water bottle was most likely to sober himself up because he showed up to court more than an hour late. Then, he had a massive smile on his face until the judge started reading all his charges. So the people who witnessed this, they're believing that he's looking at about 3 to 5 years in prison at least for all of this. And then also they announced a new case. And so I just got out of the Johnny Somali trial.
Bitch done slept with so many clowns, she's queefing balloons and cotton candy.
You told her Natalie was on the lease? Yes. I wasn't thinking. She just caught me off guard. I know, I crossed the line. You think? I'm sorry, she's just been stalking me. The flowers and the phone calls. I should fire you, right? At this point, I'll just write my own termination letter. What you did wasn't okay. But I see right through her, and you're not the villain here. Hey, just wanted to follow up on that red wrist. Y'all good? Jaden, please sit. Wait, what happened? Your girlfriend is trying to turn my life into an episode of You. That's what happened. Okay, I didn't ask her to do that. Save it. You're going to be hearing from corporate. Unless you plan on adding a therapist to your next lease, I suggest you stay single. No. But we're also filing a harassment report on your girlfriend. So if she shows up in this building again, we're calling the police and we're filing a restraining order. What? Please pass that message along since you both are unbreakable soulmates. Oh, and we can't forget, you're also getting 2 lease violations. So 1 for an unauthorized guest and another one because you failed to submit an ID for your second occupant. Just 1 more violation and you're getting evicted. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, another flower delivery for the leasing office. This time, they're black roses.
Put them in the trash. You told her.
Thomas, where are you going?
LA, I fly out tonight.
But you can't. We have a bilateral hand transplant this afternoon.
I get paid per procedure. Can't work at a public hospital on a fixed salary. I'd make peanuts.
Come on, man, it's not peanuts. The salary is fair.
Is it north of $2 million?
Fine, go. But you have to do Andy's surgery first. We have donor hands. He's waited months to get.
Sorry, guys. Tear Sinai is expecting me this week.
It's the 5th surgeon we've lost. There'll be more.
First things first. Those donor hands will be diverted to another child if we don't find a plastic surgeon to replace Lamas in the next few hours.
Is it time to get my new hands?
Soon, Annie.
So when's my surgery?
It's ready to go. We just need plastics.
I've caught around every hospital in driving distance. No one has the skill set for a double hand replacement. I mean, it's the highest level of surgery. I might have someone. Jake Wong, my former stepson.
Thomas.
Billy Mays is no more. Since when? He's gone? Chat, did none of you know that Billy Mays died? Wait a minute. Are we experiencing a Mandela effect right now? Did none of you know that Billy Mays just ain't here anymore? Yes? What? He's not here? Yeah! He passed a while ago. I was in middle school when it happened. Middle school! And
28 years later, we tried imagining how a world would rebuild itself after an apocalypse.
Initial conversations were often about imagining what does 28 years later mean. If the infection is still in Britain, what does the infection look like? How does the rest of the world respond to that? Has the country been quarantined, essentially abandoned?
Holy Island, which is where our film begins, is protected by a causeway that you can defend. But there's a lack of machinery, no electricity or fuel. Everything that surrounds our life now suddenly is useless. The mainland then becomes somewhere over there which has both promise and threat.
When countries collapse for one reason or another, they're often abandoned. There's a ruthless, pragmatic, dog-eat-dog dimension to the way these things play out.
The infected, these are extraordinary creatures.
They haven't died and come back to life. They're living people who've got sick and been infected with the rage virus. That dictates some stuff. They need to drink, they need to eat. If they've survived 28 years infected with this disease, what would they look like? Are they similar to anything in the animal kingdom? What would they be similar to?
When you're doing a movie, you're looking for those images that will terrify people. There's a visceral element to cinema where you have a responsibility to push the envelope as far as you can go. It's like I want that sense of suffocating intensity. It doesn't feel like a sequel, it feels like an original film.
Just a quick friendly reminder. You think you're so clever. Tom hissed, his face contorted with rage as he realized his perfect plan to steal my house had just crumbled before his eyes. The guest house? In my own home? Our home. He shouted, making Emma jump in her high chair. Dada mad? Ethan asked, his little face scrunching up with worry. Dada's just tired, I soothed, shooting Tom a warning look. And Dada's leaving for a while. Like hell I am, Tom growled, but his voice was quieter now, conscious of the twins watching. Actually, you are, I said calmly, pulling out another document from my bag. This is a temporary restraining order. My attorney filed this.
Coordinating the production of all these intelligence is collect space action. They spent 8 years working as a business.
The hard stake on this project with millions of coming from literally across the globe. The challenge is always to step out how much it takes. Can you imagine on schedules of 40 million activities, there's how many issues it takes every day? All of that, what happens? And then to pick 5 things, 15 things, share the project and say, we have to solve that problem. This is the buy-in on effectively the world's largest and complicated prescription project today.
Did you see his face when we presented the recordings in court? James asked during one of our meetings. He thought it was so funny.
No doubt, it's a different solve whatever is going on. They really get it still.
In an environment where so many different people from around the world speaking numerous different languages are working together to push the boundaries of science, one thing in particular stands out is the importance in helping communication.
This was organized faster than I expected. She saw it that way. It was the one time I tried so hard to take communicators from him. I renovated the twins' rooms, planted a garden, and created the home I always envisioned. Every mortgage payment felt like a victory, a reminder of how I protected what was mine. He teased me about dating again, but I was content focusing on my children and career. There would be time for romance later. For now, I was enjoying the peace that came with knowing I'd not only survived Tom's betrayal, I had emerged stronger. One morning, as I sat on my porch watching Emma and Ethan play in our front yard, I reflected on how different life had become. The twins were racing around, Tom and Beth to his car. Update, you're overreacting, it's just a wedding, my mom said when I wasn't invited to my own sister's big day. I booked a trip instead. Days later, my family was blowing up my phone. I knew it would make its way back to my family, and honestly, I hoped it did because for once they could see what it felt like to be left out, and I was just getting started. The first full day of my trip was absolute perfection. I started the morning with room service, fluffy pancakes, fresh fruit, and coffee so good it ruined every cup I'd ever had before. Then I spent the day doing exactly what I wanted. No obligations, no family drama, just me, the ocean, and a schedule that revolved around nothing but my own happiness. By the afternoon, I was stretched out on a sunbed by the infinity pool, cocktail in hand, watching the waves roll in. Every so often, I glance at my phone, not to check in with my family, but to see the growing number of reactions to my vacation posts. The comments were golden. Cousin Jake, bro, where even are you? Aunt Lisa, okay, now you're just showing off. Old college friend, dude, invite me next time. And then finally, a notification that really made me smirk. Emily viewed your story. Oh, so now she was paying attention. I could almost imagine her reaction, sitting in the bridal suite, sipping cheap champagne, scrolling through Instagram only to see me living my best life while she stressed over her wedding. Good. I leaned back, took another sip of my drink, and thought, enjoy your big day, sis, hope it's everything you wanted. But by the time the sun started setting, something strange happened. My phone started blowing up. At first, I ignored it. I figured it was just more people reacting to my pictures. But then I saw the names: Mom, Emily, Cousin Jake, even Uncle Rob, call after call, texts coming in nonstop. I raised an eyebrow and finally unlocked my phone. The first text I saw was from my mom. Mom, call me. It's an emergency. An emergency at the wedding. I sighed, debating whether I even cared. Then another message popped up from Jake. Jake, dude, you are not going to believe what just happened. Oh, now I was curious. I sat up, scrolled through the messages, and quickly realized that the universe had delivered the best wedding gift I could have ever asked for. Because, as it turned out, Emily's perfect wedding had just gone up in flames. I scrolled through the flood of messages, my smirk growing with each one. Jake, bro, you dodged a bullet. Mom, call me right now. This is a family crisis. Emily, where are you? I need you. I stretched out on my lounge chair, took another sip of my cocktail, and kept scrolling. Then I found the message that made me laugh out loud. Cousin Melissa, the groom left, just walked out. I nearly choked on my drink. The groom left. Oh, this was better than I could have imagined. Curiosity got the best of me, so I finally texted Jake back. Me, what do you mean he left? Jake, dude, during the reception, full meltdown. He and Emily had some huge fight, and then he just walked out, straight up left the venue. Jake, oh, and then Uncle Rob and Dad got into a screaming match over who was ruining the family's reputation. Grandma cried. The venue cut the bar early. It's a mess. I leaned back, grinning. My sister had banned me from the wedding, convinced she didn't need me, and now, suddenly, I was the first person they all ran to. To heads up, also, Grandma keeps saying the wedding was cursed because you weren't there. It's hilarious. That voicemail, I saved. I tossed my phone onto the bed and stepped down onto the balcony.
It was at least 10 times what the best machine anywhere else in the world had been able to do. The results were so good that some...
Final update. You're overreacting to dinner by the ocean while my family was still picking up the pieces of Emily's wedding disaster. I was indulging in the best steak I'd ever had. At one point, a thought crossed my mind. Maybe I should feel bad for her. Then I remembered the way she didn't even hesitate to leave me out. Yeah, no. I took a sip of my wine, snapped one last picture of the view, and posted it with a single caption: 0 regrets. Then, with a satisfied smile, I turned my phone off again. Let them stew. I was done being their backup plan. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. No guilt, no stress, no last-minute family emergencies that somehow became my problem to solve. Just me, the sound of waves, and an entire day ahead with nothing but relaxation. I stretched, ordered room service, and out of pure curiosity turned my phone back on. Big mistake. Within seconds, my notifications exploded. Mom, you need to stop acting like a child and call me. Emily, I can't believe you're doing this to me. You are so selfish. Mom, this isn't funny. Emily is heartbroken. Do you even care? Block number, probably my aunt. We need to fix this family before it's too late, I sighed, shaking my head. It was almost impressive how quickly they shifted from ignoring me to expecting me to fix everything. Then one message caught my eye. Cousin Melissa, okay, I know you're ignoring everyone, but please read this. Your mom is trying to gather the family to have a discussion when you get back. Just a heads up. I nearly laughed out loud. Oh, they thought I was coming back like nothing had happened. Like I just show up, let them guilt trip me. For the final time, I blocked it. The sun.
Let's save her life. Let's wait back. You okay? Yeah. Don't move. Don't move. I'm a doctor.
In Rome? No, this time it was a surgeon. They said the room is ready. I want to speak to your supervisor. They think some cleaning fairy comes in and waves a wand or something. I won't leave a room until I am done. We're the front lines here, Zoe. Without us, this place is one big.
Being shot, and some blood work for the rest of it.
The rest of it?
HIV, AIDS, that kind of thing. Message was sent down from Dr. Connery. He wants you to contact him. Hanging out with the acting chief of staff now, hmm?
Chief of staff? He said he was a doctor.
How we're dating, are we?
No, I was hit on my way to work.
Doctors never ends well.
I'm sorry?
So we don't sleep with the enemy. But if you do, make sure you tell him to get stuck.
Am I the jerk for outing my ex as gay to get his mother off my...
Nothing fazed him back then. In fact, my mother used to complain all the time that he never showed his emotions. Seeing him act like a terrified child left me deeply disturbed. Was someone listening to us? No. It didn't make any sense. He had been doing this for months. If he really wanted to communicate, he could have just written it down. There had to be an explanation. The only thing I could conclude was that someone was watching.
Push or post-critic. Let's go. What do they call you?
Anthony?
Anthony. You got a last name?
Anthony Petruccio.
There you go, Anthony Petruccio. It's a good name. Strong. Where are you from? Anthony Petruccio.
Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey. You know, I
thought so. I had a feeling, you know.
You too, yeah?
That's right. That's right. You know a little about me, Anthony?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, right?
This is seizing the Punisher special.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You give me a minute like this. It's an honor to meet you. Thank you, Anthony.
Oh my God! Punisher special on the way, bro!
Now get totally natural.
I feel like we should clap, bro. She'll go shoot up a school. He looks like he's gonna do something crazy. Those fucking pants in that belt. You fucking podcasters. I said don't let him in here. Tony, I can't deny great comedy. God damn it, that was great fucking comedy. Bit for bit. Bit for bit, Tony. I believe in giving flowers. I have nothing bad to say, man. Performance, goddamn, every box, whatever you want to say, you check. I just have to say this. Sam, fuck him. All right? The oh hell no. That right there. That right there. Yeah. I got Sam. I want to come back and like get him for us both, but that was really good. He got us good, Sam. He got the black culture good with that one. Oh hell no! He turned to Tyler Perry in the middle of the show. Fuck you, Tony. I'll come back in a couple of days. Sam, we'll get him. Just not now. Let him have this moment. Son of a bitch. That was so good. All right. Fuck that. And fuck you, Tom. All right, guys. I feel like we should clap, bro. She'll go shoot up a school. He looks like...
Karen demanded I leave my own yard. Then my Secret Service detail stepped out of the car. Karen demanded I leave my own yard. Then my Secret Service detail book had been read, and the cover was now being shut for good. A single moving truck sat in her driveway, engine running, while two men loaded her belongings in mechanical silence. She didn't greet anyone. She didn't yell or glare. She didn't even look up. Dressed in a plain sweatshirt and oversized sunglasses, Karen simply sat on her porch steps, with a large tote bag at her feet, and a clipboard clutched to her chest, as if still trying to cling to some version of authority. From my porch, I sipped coffee and watched without comment. Rivera stood beside me, arms folded, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. He wasn't gloating. He never gloated. But the end of the Karen saga had brought a distinct likeness to the neighborhood. One
He doesn't choose our future. We do. And in tough times, we can choose to help each other. We can make sure no government cuts the health care you count on. We can support Canadian workers. Help families get ahead. And take better care of the people we love. Vote NDP to fight for your family and stand up for your Canada.
What's about money? Every advisor in every old financial institution has it. Like this gym. A wise person should put it in their head, but out of their hearts. What difference does it make? It doesn't end up in your pocket. So, how do you get yours? The answer is zero. Questrade thinks deserve more zeros. So they change the game again. Zero commission trades. And go get yours.
Tylenol Complete relieves cold, cough, and flu symptoms like a pro. It's like having NHL superstar Nathan McKinnon assisting you through your cold symptoms. Tylenol Complete relieves your worst cold, cough, and flu symptoms. Get relief like a pro.
Take 20 to 40% off during the big grand sale at SportTech. Shop Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. Shop online and in store until April 23rd. SportTech, stay with sport.
Once upon a time, there was this family. I ate them with every ounce of it.
The time has come. Wayday's coming. Wayfair's biggest sale of the year is back. So,
Go here forever. Seriously, I'm sorry.
Smells good though.
You use dynamite for that. It would have been very easy for the mob to buy or maybe illegally acquire a few sticks of dynamite.
Steal?
Yeah.
Maybe irritates her.
Yeah, buying stuff.
I think the easiest, most reliable explosives to get in that era, in that area, would have been some sort of dynamite.
Do you think the car would survive a couple of sticks of dynamite?
I think the damage there is consistent with 1, maybe 2 sticks of dynamite. But I'd like to find out for sure. But yeah, I think it is consistent with that. It comes in different sizes. So the most common dynamite people see is about 1 inch around and about 8 inches long.
Right.
So that's the stick I'm referring to. And I think the damage there is consistent with 1 or 2 sticks in the rear of the car.
Yeah, because I mean, you wouldn't want too big of a device because then the person getting into the car would just look under and see it. So it'd have to be small enough where it would be hidden, but big enough to do the job.
But they didn't want to take out everybody in the parking lot. And they were probably looking at destroy him and his car, but not everybody.
So we bought a Cadillac Eldorado the same year, same model, and we stripped it down, and it turns out there was no steel plate underneath the driver's seat.
That was a big part of his story.
But now we want to see if you did have a steel plate in there, would it be enough to save your life from an explosion?
So you got a car, and you put a steel plate in it. I'm thinking you want me to hook you up with some dynamite.
That's why.
Let's do it.
That's why we came here. So you have the remote system?
Yes, we just need to install it, rig everything up properly, and get going.
Is this like your first experience with high explosives?
Oh yeah. This is my first time.
The most I've seen is like an M80 firecracker for like 4th of July.
You guys are in for a treat.
Oh.
You'll never get used to it.
So I'm smiling when she starts hurting already.
Yeah, it's
in anticipation.
It's the adrenaline. It's unbelievable. All right, say goodbye to the car.
Bye, Caddy.
We got hard. Yeah, I feel bad for it.
We are all set to test this myth. I am super fired up. Bob studied the scene in the movie, and he's using his experience to rig the right amount of dynamite to replicate that explosion for us. Once connected to the ignition, mobster style, we can press the button. Then we'll be able to analyze the aftermath and determine whether the driver's side steel plate is enough protection to save your life from a car bomb. I'm excited to see how BC and K react. You never forget your first time.
This is amazing. I do not know what to expect. I've done tons of fireworks, combined, singular, you name it. But today, to see an automobile explode is just quite exciting. I'm anticipating this crazy fireball happening. I don't know if things are going to blow left and right, go upwards. I have no idea. But I'm curious about this myth. Will the steel plate save an inhabitant from an explosion? We'll find out very soon.
Can a driver's side steel plate mitigate the blast of a car bomb? Commence the countdown.
All right, starting the car. In 3, 2, 1. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah, no way. No way.
Oh my God, look at it. Oh, look at it.
There's no vehicle left.
That was crazy. That was awesome.
Oh my god,
So that's that bubble you see.
Well, look at like the shockwave. What would that do to a person's body?
It would make them go deaf. And if you're close enough, it will actually kill you. All that energy is going straight through the floor. The car flips up on its nose and then comes back down. That's how much power this blast had.
Wow, look at the metals mangled. It's crazy. It doesn't even resemble a proper car anymore. It looks like an onion just exploded on top. Totally like a yard sale.
Whoa! The whole column got ripped.
Wow!
Look at the steel plate.
Oh my goodness.
Crap.
That's the steel plate? Oh my god!
Like an
Oh my
ejection
god!
seat.
Oh.
So, what do you guys think? Having a steel plate is not going to save your life?
Absolutely not.
No. No, I mean, look at it. It'd be more liability than anything. Wow.
It's like, I feel like you picked the exact amount of explosives and the perfect type.
And it really looks like the movie. Like, it looks like pictures of the movie. I feel like we did a really good job recreating this.
Yeah. He survived, but it wasn't because of a steel plate.
Yeah.
Now you've experienced your first explosion. What do you think?
That's pretty cool.
Your reaction was the best. Like, you literally could not control yourself.
I'm no longer a virgin, and it was the most amazing experience ever. It was crazy.
I mean, I still kind of feel kind of sorry for the car. Like, I don't know. It didn't do anything to deserve it. So I'm like a little sad, but also like it's not worth it.
It was
totally worth it. Now we know a steel plate under your car won't save your life from a car bomb.
Very true. What would it take for someone to survive a blast of this magnitude?
Are you saying maybe we can make some kind of bomb-proof underlining?
We now know a steel plate alone wasn't enough to save Robert De Niro's character in Casino. But he did survive the blast. So we need to come up with a way to reinforce the steel plate and test if there's any way this movie myth is plausible.
I like this. End of the world mobile? Down.
I think we need to go back to the shop and choose some materials that could survive. You know, the steel plate went haywire, but it may be a good choice to combine that and some other materials.
I like it. Are you saying I need to order more dynamite? Always. The answer to that is always yes. Bob, nice work.
Seriously.
Another day in the office for a bomb guy. Right? This is a memory foam.
Oh, that may work.
Yeah. To see if we can replicate the survival scenario, we'll need another Cadillac. So face searching the web for one that's destined for the scrapyard, while BC and I work on finding the best combination of known bomb-proofing materials and techniques. So, this was giving me an idea. This is a helmet from a bomb suit.
Wow.
It's like a race helmet.
This is the weirdest
Except it'll stop frag from killing you.
Oh, see, like this.
See, look at that.
Wow, this is pretty.
Yeah.
That is thick. Wait, it smells funny.
Oh, yeah. Because when you're diffusing bombs, you're sweating a lot.
Oh, yeah. What is this material?
So it's built of a few different materials. There's Kevlar, plastic, and foam. And so I was thinking, what if we took similar materials and we created our own underlayment underneath the car to make the driver's seat bomb-proof?
That sounds good. These materials individually can withstand some blast, but when combined nicely.
Yeah. If you had a chance to make your seat bomb-proof, what would you do?
I would do what you typically see in a movie.
Okay.
Where someone would jump into a bathtub or cover themselves with a bathtub.
Like a cast iron tub.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. What would you do?
I was watching this documentary and this guy, he armored a tractor. What he did is he built these steel, like, boxes and then filled them with concrete. So what I was going to do is do a couple of pieces of steel and then a couple of pieces of the concrete infused board.
Oh, that works.
Should we start building?
Absolutely.
Before we attempt to bomb-proof our second car, we need to conduct some small-scale tests. We went around the shop, collected all different types of materials that we think might mitigate a blast, and now we're just going to figure out what the right combination is.
You know, Tori, where I'm from, Our tubs have iron in the middle and porcelain on both sides.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do porcelain on both sides. Why not?
Okay. So you have multiple layers of concrete, I see.
And 3 layers of concrete, and then 2 layers of steel. It looks like the helmet has foam, plastic, and Kevlar. So we have this nylon. Almost sandwich it with the Kevlar.
Let's see if this works. Fingers crossed.
I love this guys.
Man, they do not make them like they used to. Look at this crank window. Yeah.
Yeah, road trip.
Let me take a video. I'm going to document the whole thing. Crap, I'm low on charge. Hey, can you pass me the charger?
I don't have a charger in here.
Oh, you don't have a phone charger?
No.
It is kind of warm, but how about some AC or something? It's right here.
The rolling window.
Yeah.
Wait, we have no AC? No. I can't do hours in this. It's cool for a nice weekend cruiser, but not for a long road trip. How about this? How about a muscle car that can give you what you need, me what I need, and satisfy his need for something old school and American?
What do you think? Are you saying that you have an electric muscle car?
Are you familiar with the Ford Mach-E?
I'm not going to charge my phone in an electric car. It's going to drain the battery. And it's going to take longer to get there.
What if we explore certain myths surrounding electric vehicles where we can look at different ways to improve the mileage or longevity of battery life in electric cars?
Oh my God, you love the electric car.
I really do. It is the future of mobility as far as I'm concerned.
But will it sound like this?
Okay, it may not sound like that. Yeah! It may not sound like that, but it has its own unique sound. Beyond that, guess what? We'll have additional comforts like air conditioning, vehicles to charge, and you get to stick with your American muscle pedigrees.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds like the road trip in that gas-guzzling Pontiac is on hold, with a few pertinent myths taking precedence. The team is hitting the track to see how battery life and EV road range can be affected while driving, and PC has lined up the perfect test subject.
All right, so we have 3 electric car myths that we're looking at. Number 1, using your AC over your heater will decrease your mileage significantly.
Can you improve your range using regenerative braking versus mechanical braking?
Ooh, that's a good one. But I think the most practical one is charging your cell phone while driving an electric vehicle decreases your range noticeably.
To help us with the myth, I have a slew of data logging capabilities. We're going to look at state of charge at all times and also distance travel. And I'll be logging it every second of the way.
Okay, well, why don't we do a control test first?
Sounds good.
We'll run the track. We'll do 5 laps. That equals 8 miles. See how much range we get with that, and then we'll start our tests.
Sounds good to me.
You want to drive?
Heck yeah, I do. That thing?
Sure. Okay, let's go. But all EVs will perform in the same way. So to get a baseline of comparison for this one.
Okay, you guys, so setting our baseline, I'm going to try my best to be super consistent around the track the entire time.
We need to complete 5 laps with the heat, AC, and ventilation systems off at a repeatable and reliable speed. Victoria, how does the dash look?
Looks great. We have 94.9% charge.
All right, we got windows up. So
Yes.
we're going to keep it this way for every single test. All right, here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. I'm not a particularly crazy fast driver. I like fast cars, although I don't really drive them fast. This racetrack is the perfect control environment.
I love driving fast cars fast, but only on the track. I drive like a grandmother on the street.
I have to vary my speed for the different corners, but since it's not a race, I can just enjoy the drive.
I like to drive any car as fast as I can. Anywhere, anytime.
Okay, suffice to say, for the sake of the myths, the team has the right person behind the wheel.
This is actually really fun.
Well, this is our last lap.
Yeah.
That was it. This is the end of our run, and we have gone almost 8 miles.
Time to check just how dependable phase lap times are and how much battery power was used for the control run.
So right here is the speed that you had around the entire track.
That's
for
pretty
each lap.
consistent.
Yeah, not bad at all. And then in yellow is our battery pack charge. We start off at 94.902% state of charge. And when we're done with our entire run, we're at 92.157.
So about 2.75%.
All right, sounds like a killer baseline.
I agree. That does seem like we didn't burn through that much battery life.
Right.
I was expecting us to burn through a lot more battery life.
We may be able to. So what about heater?
All right, so this time we're going to run with the heater on. Do you really think
In
that's
96 degrees.
I know, but
That's a horrible
science.
idea.
We have to do it.
All right, 5 laps again.
5 laps.
Sounds good.
All right.
Let's get to it.
96 degrees, and we're going to turn the heater on.
With the baseline set, it's up to Faye to maintain an average speed of 38 miles per hour to achieve an average lap time of around 2 minutes and 25 seconds and ensure the data for each test is congruent.
Oh, yeah, feel the heat.
Let's go ahead and begin. How are we doing with the 0 miles, sorry?
We are zeroed out.
Good.
The onboard heat in an EV comes from an electric heater. So it is possible to preheat the cabin using juice from the grid while the car is plugged into the charger. But we're testing the myth that the AC drains the battery life more than the heater while driving.
Tori, only a mad person would do this. With an enclosed environment, full blast heat, in an EV.
Desert.
It almost feels like the seats. Did you turn the seats on? It
No,
feels like
seats are not on.
Oh,
It does feel like the heaters are on. Oh, sweating. How are you guys doing?
I'm sorry.
Okay, wait a second. I'm sorry. Girls we don't sweat. We sparkle. I'm very sparkly. That's
good. I'm sparking my butt off.
I'm serious sparkling your butt off.
I should have worn these warm trousers today.
It's all right, BC. We only have 2 more laps to go.
Yeah.
3 laps in, and Faye's lap times are perfectly consistent with an average speed of 38 miles per hour.
Freaking dying in here.
The cabin temperature tells us how hard the resistant heating system is working. That must be taking a toll on the battery life.
Let's come up with a bunch of different creative words for hot. Okay, sizzling.
Steaming.
Sweaty.
Scorching.
Seared.
Hot as balls.
Oh my god.
Here goes up in the
All
last lap.
I am dying back here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty toasty.
Discover the new 2025 Taos.
Polysporin helps prevent infection to heal your burns fast. Polysporin, made for annoying burns, blisters, and cuts.
The DQ freezer is opening again, and the confetti cake blizzard treat is back.
Can we roll the windows up now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How do you guys feel?
I feel like I've just been tortured for the last 5 laps.
With the data from the heater test stored, the team can run straight into the AC test and compare the results at the end.
At least now we can do the air conditioning test. The myth is air conditioning robs more power, more range from an electric vehicle than heat.
I'm looking forward to this one. Okay.
We're going max AC.
All right, excellent. Oh, awesome.
Oh, yes.
Here we go.
5 laps. Here we come. 5 enjoyable laps.
Wonderful, beautiful laps.
Oh, this is so nice.
Okay, 5 laps at the same consistent speed will provide them with enough data on the efficiency of this particular EV's cooling system to call the myth.
So I can tell you're getting much more comfortable with this electric vehicle.
I will say that I'm going to always have range anxiety.
Sometimes gathering data can be tiring.
Well, data doesn't lie. I'm going to pull it and see what happens.
The team completes 5 laps while running the heater.
I'm sweating.
I'm sweating too.
Okay.
And then the AC.
Oh, this is so nice.
PC has pulled the data, and they're all set to compare the results.
So just to recap, our baseline was 2.75% of usage.
Yes, that's correct. Now, the first one we did was the sweltering heat. Look at that number.
3.138.
That's crazy.
That's way more than the baseline.
Oh, yeah.
The myth says that if you're using your heater versus your AC, you're going to be conserving more energy.
Yeah, we have the heater first, but we don't know what AC does yet. And kudos to you. That's excellent, right? Look at how repeatable that is. That's amazing.
It's almost like you were following your...
It's like you're a robot.
Your game.
Faye's machine-like performance behind the wheel has abated the margin of error from lap times and speed. So we'll be able to call the myth from the results.
So here's what we ended with the AC. Look at that.
It's the exact same as the baseline.
That's amazing.
2.75. I mean, it's literally the exact same amount of energy we spent.
That's not what I was expecting at all.
Very efficient AC system.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But the heater was really bad.
Yeah.
It uses a resistive element which consumes a lot of power.
Way different than an internal combustion engine car.
This myth is completely busted.
Absolutely
busted.
Okay, guys, the next myth is as follows. Can you improve range with regenerative braking versus mechanical braking? So I think it's time to set the car up for that and have some fun.
All right.
Heck yeah. Let's get to it.
Regenerative braking is designed to convert much of the kinetic energy lost when decelerating back into the EV's battery. It's a standard system setting on this vehicle, and we know that 2.75% of the battery charge is used over our 5-lap course when it's engaged. So that will remain as our baseline for comparison.
So we're going to disable that. So I need you to disable that one pedal drive function, and that will put us in a position where you will have to use your physical brakes to now stop the car. And we'll see how much energy is consumed. If the myth is correct, we'll find out that we will consume a lot more energy using our physical brakes.
Right, absolutely. So, one pedal drive is off. I'm excited to see the difference.
All right.
And we're
3,
set.
2, 1, go.
Regenerative braking is also known as one-pedal drive because it's designed to allow the driver to bring the vehicle to a stop without engaging the brake pedal. With the system turned off, the EV drives just like
a normal car, actually. Like before, I was definitely feeling like you let off the accelerator pedal and there is drag, like the vehicle is pulling you back. You can feel the regenerative braking like working. It was really weird to get used to at first, but now I feel much more comfortable. It just feels like a normal car.
Each lap consists of 13 turns with a mix of fast and slow, left and right, incline and decline combinations, requiring Faye to use both hard and gentle braking to maintain her average speed.
So you can coast easier in this mode.
Yeah, I'm coasting right now.
Wow. Gotcha.
That's fine.
What do you guys think? Do you think this one's going to be more efficient or less efficient?
I think it would be less efficient what she's doing now, but I think the difference would be quite subtle.
But I wonder if it's just going to balance itself out because you're not really braking so much on this course.
Right.
You're coasting mostly.
Okay, well, this is the end of our lap. I'll pull the data and we'll compare and see how it's fair to our baseline.
With the regenerative brake on our baseline, we were using up 2.75% energy. So now, with it off,
let's see what happens. So you see what's really interesting here, Faye? Look at that. You don't put any energy at all back into the battery pack.
Yeah.
You just consume. That's looking good for the myth itself. And Tori, what is that delta?
So we have 3.53%.
Oh my goodness.
That's way more than the heater.
That's crazy.
Oh
that's
my gosh.
Amazing.
And that's awesome because it really shows what regenerative braking does.
It's like the engineers knew what they were doing.
It's like the engineers knew what they were doing.
Right.
So you should leave it on. So that being said, the myth that you can get a lot more range using regenerative braking compared to mechanical braking, it looks like this particular myth, in this case, is confirmed.
Absolutely confirmed.
Absolutely confirmed.
All right, next one, charging your phone.
Thank goodness, because I need to.
Will charging your phone decrease your distance?
By a noticeable amount. Is it noticeable over the span of our 8-mile distance? And so BC's got a charger there. He's going to put his cell phone on, and we're going to compare this test to our baseline.
I have the perfect scenario for you.
Oh.
My phone is wireless charging capable.
This is the way that I think most people are going to charge their phones. So this is, I think, more relevant to the test.
Oh, there
yeah,
it is.
it's charging.
Tori.
All right, we are set. 5 laps. Ready when you are.
I'm ready. Let's go. Back to one pedal driving. That's so weird.
With the vehicle's factory setting restored, the original baseline of 2.75% of power usage is once again in play.
So, Tori, what do you think is going to happen with this one?
I feel like the amount of energy it takes to charge your phone, it's not going to be noticeable.
You're probably correct.
I don't think we're going to see much of a drop.
I totally agree with you. I don't think that there's going to be a noticeable change over 8 miles.
Well, time will tell. We'll find out.
Yep, and while the test distance might not provide enough time to fully charge BC's phone, a long road trip would.
That too.
So any dip in battery life will continue to be relative to total mileage. But even a short trip like this is enough time to reminisce.
The first car that I rode that really got me into wrenching was a 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit. I still have it. When I first bought it, it was diesel, and I wanted to reduce my carbon footprint in the world. So I converted my Volkswagen Rabbit to run on waste vegetable oil. I would filter my waste vegetable oil with pantyhose, and I would sometimes new. I would just buy them in packs. You buy them in packs, and then I would just use them as a filtration media, just to get out the big chunks. And then I had a series of filtration units and heated coils and everything, jacketed fuel lines, because I had a tank in the back and brought the fuel to the front. So I used to love going to the gas stations and watching people pay, for a gallon of gas, and I would just, get out my funnel and just pour in this disgusting waste vegetable oil in front of all these people and just keep on going and not ever spend $1 at the pumps.
Faye's vegan rabbit might have been efficient, but it probably couldn't power her cell wireless. So after 5 laps in today's green vehicle, the guys are about to find out if charging up the cell comes at a hefty cost.
Okay, Tori, here's what we are. They did an excellent job as always in keeping a repeatable driving pattern. So that's how we started. And this is where you stopped. Look at that, Tori.
3.135. That's noticeable.
It is noticeable.
Way noticeable. It's way more than I expected.
And think about it. I did choose a charging method that is wireless.
The wireless charging systems, they always generate a lot of heat.
Absolutely.
Still, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This one's 100% confirmed.
I agree. Confirmed.
But I'm shocked how much it's confirmed.
Yeah.
Not as bad as a heater.
Not as bad as a heater,
but it was significant compared to our baseline.
It definitely is noticeable.
Yeah.
I have to say, looking at the data, it's told us a lot about EVs.
It was a really productive day. I really liked it a lot.
Me too. I learned a ton.
Charge your phone before you leave the
Before
house.
you leave the house. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Let's get out of here.
I'm done. So, Tori, are you on the EV bandwagon yet?
Not yet.
To find out if a custom plate can protect the driver from a car bomb, the team needs to find the most effective components. So, they're back at the bomb range for a face-off.
Okay, so it's time for a small-scale test to determine which combination of materials has the most potential to mitigate the explosion we saw in the casino movie car bomb.
So what do we have?
Well, starting over here on the right, a sandwich consisting of ceramic and steel in between. And the good thing about ceramics is that just like with body armor, it can shatter, absorbing a lot of energy.
This sandwich here, it's 2 pieces of steel, but inside there is a concrete infused board.
Okay, all right.
And Faye, over there is my personal favorite. It consists of outer layers of ballistic nylon, some foam to absorb a lot of energy, and that little white piece right there is high-density polyethylene.
These are similar materials that you would find in a bomb suit. Why don't we get some explosives and see which one does better?
Awesome!
The test plates are secured to 3 steel pins to replicate the car's undercarriage. Strapped beneath each is a mini dynamite stick, equivalent to about 10% of what we use in a full-scale car explosion.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
I like that.
All right.
Okay.
Ready?
All right. Okay, guys. Okay.
Count it
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, let's go see how they did. That was a good boom.
That was a proper blast.
extremely promising. Oh, but look at this. Oh. Oh, that's pretty good.
This is more promising.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right, let's look at the tile. That's incredible. The porcelain completely shattered, taking all that energy. And I mean, look at the steel. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. It looks like they all worked well.
What if we took the parts that work the best from all three and combined it and make the ultimate bomb-proof car?
I like where you're going.
To figure out the best combination of blast mitigating materials for our full-scale test, we need to review the slow-motion footage from our small-scale experiment.
And we got some interesting results here. Oh, wow! You see the shockwave? Isn't that cool how it kicks up the dust on the ground? See that little peak?
Yes.
That's all the porcelain shattering and absorbing all that energy. So I feel like
it's a great contender.
yes, I would say we stick with the plastic, maybe the porcelain. Obviously, we're going to go with steel. But then we're going to have to build some kind of compartment in there to protect the driver. Maybe we build like a little cocoon for the person to sit in from this blast.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go above and beyond because after looking at that first explosion, there just seems like there's no way.
So why don't we look at the car?
Yeah.
And see what we can come up with.
Okay, sounds good.
I guess we'll start by pulling the seats out.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan. This is a 1985 Cadillac DeVille. Now, it's a mid-range model. It's not quite as luxurious as the Eldorado. However, it's going to sub in perfectly because it's made in the same era. It has a similar construction. It's got the coupe body style, and the chassis is the same. So it'll work perfect for this test.
We have the floor pan of the car. And on top of that, we're using a layer of ceramic tile, which we know will shatter on impact and disperse the shockwave. 3 layers of concrete fiberboard to absorb energy and deflect the blast, and then our high-density plastic to protect from cracking. And to stay true to the movie myth, we are using a steel plate as the topmost layer of protection for the driver's seat floor. I feel safer already. I'll then put up the side shields and just basically create a box. We're just going to fit this one in on the passenger side. Then hopefully that'll keep us safe.
This is actually looking pretty robust.
Look at how thick that is.
Yeah.
We got like 5 inches of material.
Right.
This is going to be the only thing that survives from the blast.
You think?
The car is just going to get decimated. But I'm hoping that this little compartment that we're building would stand it. All right, this thing is almost done. We have the floor in place, side walls. I just need to weld the back wall. Then the next thing to do is take this out to the bomb range, load up some explosives, and see if this thing is blast proof. I feel real safe in this car.
This car has no idea what's going to happen to her.
I think it does. That's why it's making all that noise. Now we're back at the bomb range to see what it would take to actually build a car bomb-proof vehicle.
You got this, Tori. You got this.
We used materials that we thought were blast mitigating. We created a little cocoon the driver can sit in. Now it's time to test this. Will he survive? We're about to find out.
To test this properly, we do need a proper human analog. Did you use some more?
We need to get him into the driver's seat.
Guys, hey!
So awkward.
Wait a second. Okay, try that.
Oh, there we go. We got him.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hands on the steering wheel as well? That's perfect.
Well, to make sure we know whether or not he survived this, we have this. These are burst discs.
Nice.
And they are rated for 100 PSI. So let's say what we built stays intact. It might look like he survived, but if these have burst, then we know he would have been killed by the blast.
His body could not withstand the pressure.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So I figured we'd just put it right here on his lap. To confirm if the blast is survivable, the burst discs are calibrated to 100 PSI, which the human body cannot survive. All right, I think we're set. Oh, wait, he needs hair. What color?
Oh, definitely the brown. Yeah, that's like more
I got
gangster.
this one from BZ.
I always wanted one of these.
Oh, that looks great. We have our driver in position, and it's time to test whether or not we're going to save this guy's life. You guys ready?
Do I look ready?
You look so ready.
This is quite warm.
You need to change your profile picture.
Our first full-scale experiment was a perfect match for the movie explosion. But the steel plate alone was not enough to save our driver. Bob is now replicating the dynamite rig in test conditions so we can determine if our composite, ceramic tile, cement sheet, polyethylene board, and steel plate can withstand and deflect the car bomb's blast enough to save Buster's life.
Oh, this is going to be good, you guys.
This is the moment.
My feeling is we built that little seat with so much material. I feel like he has a pretty good chance of surviving.
I think even if the structure we made stays intact, the pressure waves itself are going to just destroy his inside. So I think our little pressure vessel is going to burst at 100 psi.
I don't know. I'm a little on the fence. It seems like a lot.
Well, we'll know in a few seconds.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1. That was beautiful.
What was that?
That was amazing. All right.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Our structure looks almost intact still.
Yeah, it is.
Look at all the tile.
If anything, it did almost exactly what we saw in our small scale test. The tile disintegrated and absorbed a bunch of energy.
Yeah, I mean, it completely destroyed the bottom of the car.
Right.
However, our high density plastic plus our fiberboard is still intact.
Even the console survived. The steering wheel, everything that was obliterated in the first vehicle is intact.
Yeah.
Hey, how does Buster look? Yeah.
He actually looks okay.
How's the wig?
Even though Buster is very resilient, our burst discs. Wait a minute.
This is tricky because the
They
discs
detach.
themselves actually survive, but they're pretty wrinkled up. And the fact that this was actually launched out of the vehicle, I mean, all that energy probably would have broken your spine. So on first inspection, we saw that our burst discs didn't burst, but they did get wrinkled up pretty good. So that means it didn't go over 100 PSI. But 80 to 100 PSI means severe lung damage, which means you may have survived the shockwave, but you were probably going to die soon after. But the fact that our gauge got tossed out of the bucket tells me that there was so much energy and all that shockwave probably just would have ripped right through the person's body and killed him anyway. So it was a good effort, but I don't think this person would have survived.
What do you think about this?
I think it's busted on all levels. He would not have survived, but man, that was a good attempt.
I need my souvenir. For the wing.
That was fun.
On this episode of Motor Mythbusters,
Hey, it sounds cooler. Yeah.
can the turbocharger, oh boy,
I hear that turbo working.
make a hybrid more fuel efficient?
3, 2, 1.
Aveeno Calm and Restore Age Renewal Cream moisturizes for 24 hours and visibly improves early signs of aging.
You gotta wait till we say go.
And a brake line test
This is starting to feel like a bad idea.
that goes down to the wire.
Oh, shoot.
Beat the teeth.
Well, you work in no time. This might be the miracle coolant that everybody's been searching for.
With the mechanical expertise
My main concern structural integrity. I think this is gonna work.
To test all things on a roof.
That was beautiful. The more air we push through, the more fuel cycle out. And boom!
This is Motor Mythbusters,
This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
where science meets the streets.
Did you buy another car?
Of course, it's a disease, but I love it.
What is this for?
I brought this beautiful hybrid in to put a turbo system on it.
Oh my god.
What is the point of putting a turbo on a hybrid?
I've been searching the web and I found out that some people have claimed that putting a turbocharger on a hybrid can improve fuel economy.
That's the myth.
Yes.
More fuel efficient?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I love putting turbochargers on things. Like, it makes me go fast. But the fact that we may be able to improve efficiency, I'm really curious. Manufacturers do it all the time. So I said, you know what? Let's try it here. See what happens.
And then maybe we could do a couple of different tests. We'll run the car as it is, just stock hybrid. We'll measure the fuel, how much fuel was consumed, and then you can put your turbo in, and then we'll measure it again and see which one's more fuel efficient.
Strong baseline for this beast.
Yeah, and we can build some kind of a fuel cell that we can pull out and measure, so we can see exactly which one is more fuel efficient. I like this too.
How do you like the look of this car?
It's pretty crappy. It's like they tried to make this better.
Who would have hot rod this thing? I mean, have turbo come out the hood.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be the ultimate hot rod hybrid. That's what I want.
Do you think anything to do with hot rods when you look at this thing?
It's a different hybrid from most manufacturers. What they would do. This is a 2011 hybrid. So this technology has been around for quite a while. It has an electric motor sandwiched between the engine and transmission. This system automatically switches back and forth from gas and electric. It can turn on at any moment when it's charged, but we usually activate if there are undulations in the road. It has a DC battery pack in the rear, which adds power during acceleration or climbing hills. But during easy cruising, the engine powers the car. When the vehicle is decelerating or braking, the electric motor becomes a generator and converts the kinetic energy into electricity and uses it to recharge the battery pack. So it acts as an absorption unit, as a generator, as a starter.
Yeah.
It sounds. Listen to this. Check this out. Listening?
Ooh.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
So, it's once again using technology.
That is so, yeah. Just got my blood pumping. All right,
We're gonna need to do something major to this.
Yeah, so I want to see what we can do to spruce it up a little bit and also make it more efficient.
The team is going to test the myth that adding a turbo to a hybrid engine will make it more fuel efficient. Will this modification give it better mileage, or will the extra boost turn it into a gas guzzler?
All right, I'm just gonna start pulling out this plastic and see what we're working with.
Faye and I are removing some components so we can access the car's stock fuel tank.
There it is. Nice. Look at that gasket. There we go. All right, we've got the stock fuel pump removed, so now we're going to fit it into an aftermarket fuel cell. So we're going to cut a hole in this that's similar to this.
Yes.
This is going to be pretty easy. So the reason why we're going with an external fuel cell is so that we can easily take it in and out of the car, because we're going to be measuring our fuel consumption by weighing the gas before and after our tests. We need to modify the fuel cell to fit the stock fuel pump, so we can still talk to the car's computer and not give us any issues when we put it back in the car.
Okay.
That looks beautiful.
Second circle?
Oh, that is a perfect circle. We are gluing this down with some high-strength epoxy so that fuel and fuel papers do not escape. I love it.
It looks just like factory. Now we can use the same fittings for the feed and for our evaporator function. So to allow us to have accuracy with our own experiment, what we're going to do is use the weight of fuel as our means of measurement. So we need to weigh the modified fuel cell without any gasoline. Wow.
10.5.
This fuel cell will hold 8 gallons. And the weight of the gas we're using is 6 pounds per gallon. So if we filled it up, it would weigh 48 pounds. But we don't need that much gas for our tests.
How many pounds would you like to use for our experiment?
I would like a nice round number.
I like that.
Like, it's easy to remember every single time, and they're not like, 18.675
Sounds like-
23.
Sounds
Or I mean, we can use any number, like 20, 25, 30, something like that. 30
So 30 pounds it is.
Okay, well,
Nice round number, including the weight of our set.
Yeah. 30.
We're ready to throw this thing in our hybrid, connect everything, get this thing started. See, it's good.
It
does.
does look really good.
This looks pretty good. I'm excited because I've never done this before.
This is weird. I mean, why
This
put
is
a
pretty
fuel
cool.
cell in like a hybrid?
This is cool.
It's cool. It's cool. It's a fuel cell. It's cool. I agree. It's cool. All right, so we're going to be taking a measurement of the weight of this vehicle with our full fuel tank. Just to get a baseline.
What is the weight?
2,518 pounds.
Not bad. Time to get on the dyno.
Yeah.
Before we take the hybrid out on the road, this is our control test. To see how much fuel it's going to burn, we want to get a baseline of its miles per gallon on the dyno.
Lower low red.
We decided to set the cruise control at 45 miles per hour and travel 14 miles because at that speed and distance, it will allow for enough fuel to be consumed to see any obvious changes in the fuel economy. All right, we are off on our trip to nowhere.
Okay, guys, 14 miles.
All right, let's check the fuel consumption.
So initially, we started with a 30-pound tank. So I'm curious to how much weight we have now. Oh, 27.4.
Oh.
We consume 0.43 gallons. And since we traveled 14 miles, that is 32.3 miles per gallon.
But that is a terrible amount of mileage for a hybrid. Is it because we're on the dyno that it's not kicking into the hybrid?
You're absolutely correct. I did not initiate the electric motor whatsoever. This was purely on petrol.
Right.
And for a petrol setup, that's not bad at all.
For 1.5 liters of Fury, yeah.
But guess what? So we got Fury, we need to take this on the road.
Maybe we should do two different kinds of roads. We'll do a flat straightaway.
Yes.
And then maybe take it into like hills.
Oh, something
maybe,
mountainous.
maybe we go to the mountains.
That'd be great.
What do you think? You love this spot?
It's beautiful. Good choice.
Yep.
24.4.
We're just going to take it up to 30 pounds.
That's correct. Wow, you're good.
Yeah! Look at that. We're going to put it back in the car, drive for 14 miles, come back, measure it again, see how much fuel we burned.
And they're off. This scenic flat road means this little 1.5-liter engine doesn't have to work hard to maintain a cruising speed of 45 miles an hour.
I don't know, it feels a little bit lighter.
Oh,
28.1!
Oh my God. I'm going to do some calculations.
I'm going to say we did 45 miles per gallon.
Okay, so 1.88
Yes.
is what we say in pounds.
Yep.
And we know we have 6 pounds per gallon. So that being said, divided by 6, 0.313
Yep.
gallons is what we consumed. So, and we covered
14.
14 miles. 14 divided by 0.313 current. Let's go back.
I almost called it. 44.7 miles per gallon. But on the dyno, I think we did 32.3.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Think about it. On the dyno, we didn't have the electric motor come in at all.
Yeah.
Here we had many opportunities for the electric motor to help us assist with the petrol engine.
Yeah.
And we had momentum. So this is really good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it back together.
All right, let's.
And then we'll head to the mountains and do the same thing all over again.
Sounds good. This is perfect, BC.
Yes, it is.
We got hills, we got windy roads.
Yep, another idyllic test run location. And with the fuel cell refilled to 30 pounds, they'll run the car 7 miles down.
What's interesting now is as we're going down here slightly, we're charging up our hybrid batteries. I don't know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a tough one.
And 7 miles back up while maintaining the speed of 45 miles per hour.
Oh my God, this hybrid does not like this combination of elevation and hills.
We are How much fuel do we burn?
Wow.
27.5.
That's 2.5 pounds we consume.
Consumed. Here it is, the moment of truth. How many miles per gallon?
33.59. So now we have a baseline for a level road. We have a baseline for the area.
Yep.
I think we need to go back to the shop, slap a turbo system on this thing, and do it again. I can't wait.
With Triangle Rewards, you can earn Canadian Tire money at Petro-Canada to redeem on Sport Check, Marks, and Canadian Tire. Triangle Rewards, rewarding you just for filling up at Petro-Canada and Gas Plus.
All right, now it's time to turbocharge.
You see, I just popped the hood already.
Oh.
For a reason.
All right, so what are we going to do here?
Everything is factory here, so first course of action is get rid of all this stuff. On the induction, get rid of the exhaust system, the bumper, because we're going to have to put the intercooler in front. And I'm thinking about, since it's going to be a hot rod hybrid, place the turbo right here.
Okay.
I found the perfect size that can allow us to have nice boost, even probably double the power on this.
I can just see the excitement in your eyes right now. Like putting a turbo on a hybrid. Like, is this like the best day of your life?
I would put a turbo on a bicycle if I could.
Before we install the turbocharging system, we have to pull the engine apart just a little bit and figure out where we want to position and mount the turbo, wastegate, intercooler, and piping.
It's good, isn't it? So what do you think, Tony? Like right here. It's good, right?
Yep, I love it.
Tony and I took apart the whole front end on this hybrid, and now comes the hard work. I would love for this to come a little bit high here, just a little bit.
Okay.
I need the help of our lead builder, Rose, to fabricate some tubing from the exhaust to the turbo, and from the turbo to the intercooler. So to take full advantage of this, we can use a very small pipe and go straight to the manifold of the turbine. I have a flange for you here, and I have a flange for you here.
Yeah, this is like the turbocharger's dream.
It is like a very compact log manifold. It's perfect.
So here's our issue. Oval and a circle. It's not quite round peg, square hole. So this has to be put in the vise and the press and forced into an oval shape. You can see that we get pretty close within just a little bit of modification here in the vise for one side. Here it is. Now we've squished it into this shape. No worse for wear. And there's the flange all the way around. 4 cylinders into one 3-inch tube. It's beautiful. All right, let's snake it back in.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Smashing job.
Thank you.
The turbo is in position, but now we need to come up with a creative way to make the tubing to the intercooler. Oh, that went in so nicely.
It's going to maybe take 2 slices in this area to get there. I guess let's just start with a slice here.
So right now, Rose is doing something very special. She's creating pipe cuts into the aluminum tubing to give us a tight radius to go from the turbocharger into the intercooler. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Look at that.
Nice.
The exhaust rows fabricated between the turbo and intercooler fits perfectly. Just a few more adjustments, and then we're this close to the very first startup.
Hey, it sounds cooler.
Yeah. Look at that.
Beautiful.
So we're gonna see some of this.
We see smoke coming out of the engine like that.
Well, only because we put some rock around the manifold.
So it's going to burn off.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I am so excited. Everything is looking really good. Initial startup. Car starts up very nicely. Sounds good. Idling beautifully. The great thing now is I need to put everything back on the vehicle, tighten everything up. This looks like this is good. This is really, really, really good.
I'll tell you what, just adding the turbo alone has made this hybrid a little cooler looking.
Well, thank you. Not only does it look cool, it sounds really good too.
All right, well, I guess the question is it going to be fuel efficient?
Yes, but before we do that, maybe we should weigh it and see what it weighs compared to before.
Okay. All right, the car's on the scale.
Yes.
So before it was 2518, it's literally the same exact weight as before. But that makes sense. I mean, we pulled parts off, and then you added parts. I mean, it's amazing that we hit the exact same.
It really is. Now it's time for the dyno. I want to tune the engine as well as find out how much performance we gain with the turbo compared to the stock engine. Looking at the dyno numbers, the stock engine torque was 89.10 pound-foot to the wheels. And with the turbo, jumped up to 127.43. So the torque increased by 38.33 to the wheels. The stock wheel horsepower was 84.87. But with the turbo, it jumped up to 133.58. So we got 48.71 more horsepower to the ground. That's over 50%.
Now that BC has tuned the engine, we're going to do another quick test on the dyno and see what data we get with the turbo installed. Once again, because it's on the dyno, the electric motor will not automatically engage. So this will only be testing the combustion engine. My guess is we're probably going to be burning a lot more fuel. All right, 14 miles. Here we go. Oh, you can hear that turbo. Here we go. All right, we made it. Did the turbo make it more fuel efficient or less?
Okay, 6 pounds a gallon.
Yeah.
And we consumed 2.3. So we got 36.5 miles per gallon.
And the last time we got
32.3. So we improved our gas mileage
by 4 miles. Mm-hmm. I'm actually really surprised. I thought adding the turbo, we were going to burn a lot more fuel, but we actually consumed 0.3 pounds less.
That is correct, but in a lab setting or in our cathedral, could be one thing. The real world will dictate what can actually happen. So I'm going to pull this off the dyno.
All right.
Let's pound the field.
We'll take a road trip. I love
See
it.
what happens.
Road trip.
I love minivans. I mean, it's comfortable, it's spacious, I can modify them.
They're just not as cool as they used to be. I mean, back in the 70s, they had such cool vans. They had like wall-to-wall carpet. They had like swivel chairs inside. You could have a bed in the back.
It looks like I love newer vans. You love old school vans. We both love vans.
Oh, you know what? Do you remember that movie Strange Brew?
Of course I do. That thing is a classic.
In the movie, the bad guys tamper with the brake lines. And he says specifically, I've made it so that these guys will have 2 stops. Then the third time will be no brakes.
Oh my goodness. So I don't know if that's even possible.
That's what I'm wondering. What if we tested that?
Good.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking once you crack the line, you don't have brakes anymore.
I think so too. So maybe it's what we can modulate to some extent. I don't know. But I'm down to test this.
All right, I'm hungry. Let's get some tacos.
It's a cult classic from the 80s. Strange Brew takes the familiar movie trope that cutting brake lines causes catastrophe and gives it a little twist, literally. The myth is a calibrated slow leak will sabotage the brake system so precisely you get 2 stops. But the hydraulics are compromised enough so by the time you need to brake again, well, it turns out that the 3rd one was kind of necessary.
And how's this for a set of wheels? The classic 70s van. Perfect for testing the Smith.
Take 20 to 40% off during the big brand sale at Sport Tech. Shop Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. Shop online and in store until April 23rd.